Chapter 1578. A strange suggestion. Gramps, your meridians are all blocked. I don't know how you can still stand, but if you continue like this, you might end up in a wheelchair. Lin Yi reminded him in a friendly manner. You should go back and rest. 7 asterisk. After hearing Lin Yi's words, the old man's expression changed. He looked at Lin Yi with an inexplicable look. Young man, I want to take you as my disciple and teach you medicine. Do you want to consider it? Gramps, you should go back first. I'm in a hurry for the exam. Lin Yi shook his head. This is my contact number. Think about it and contact me. The old man wanted to say something, but he stopped after considering the people around him. Instead, he gave Lin Yi a business card. Lin Yi couldn't reject it. He took a look and realized that the old man's family owned a pharmacy. This explained why the old man knew a little about medicine. However, Lin Yi didn't think much of it. He put the business card in his pocket and walked into the exam room with Tang Yun and the others. The old man sighed and let his grandson go for the exam. He shook his head and walked into the shade. Thank you for just now. I didn't know that you are also a candidate. The old man's grandson caught up to Lin Yi and thanked him. 7 asterisk, and it's nothing. It's nothing, Lin Yi said faintly. My name is Bai Weitua. I am also a candidate this year, the boy introduced himself. Lin Yi nodded to him. Seeing that Lin Yi wasn't very enthusiastic, Bai Weitua didn't say anything else. This little interlude was over quickly, and there were no more surprises. They parted ways in front of the school building, and Bai Weitua went to his own exam room. Lin Yi nodded to Xinyan again. This was the last subject of the exam, and it wouldn't be easy for Lin Yi and Xinyan to meet again after it was over. Still, they had each other's phone numbers, so there was no need to worry about not being able to contact each other. The 3 days of college entrance exams came to an end quickly. This was probably the happiest moment for most of the students in the past few months. They could finally put down their textbooks and play to their heart's content. Meng Yao and the others were no exception. Previously, when Lin Yi was away, the 3 of them had been revising their lessons every day in order to deal with the college entrance examination. Now, they could finally be free. We have to celebrate tonight, Yushu said as she stretched her body. You guys celebrate. I still need to go to the police station and then to the hospital to see Qintian and Lingshan. Lin Yi said, I've been busy with the college entrance examination these days. I didn't have time to deal with the robber. Yeah, what's going on with that robber? He seemed to be trying to frame you, right? Lin Yi, you have to get to the bottom of this. Meng Yao suddenly remembered the fake Lin Yi incident. Yeah, I'll go take a look first. Lin Yi nodded. Since Lin Yi had things to do, Lin Yi left the 3 girls in the villa and drove to the police station. At the police station, Lin Yi, accompanied by Huaijuan and Lu Wanli, made a simple statement. After all, Lingshan and Qintian were both eyewitnesses, and Lin Yi's statement was more or less the same as theirs. Lin Yi, to be honest, I almost misunderstood you. I'm so sorry. Lu Wanli saw Lin Yi and explained a little embarrassedly. I went to your villa to investigate, but it seems like it was just a misunderstanding. It's nothing. After all, I almost thought it was a clone when I first saw him. Lin Yi said, It's good that you understand. If we don't catch the suspect, we won't be able to clear your name. After all, the information we had was only pictures, and the suspect was extremely cunning. He wouldn't leave fingerprints or anything like that when he committed the crime. Lu Wanli smiled bitterly. So, the only target we had was you. This person, just who is he? What's his purpose in doing this? Lin Yi frowned after hearing Lu Wanli's words. Lin Yi had heard about the whole case from Meng Yao, and just as Lu Wanli said, this person was extremely cunning. He didn't leave fingerprints when he committed the crime, which meant that he was a very careful person. Would someone like that use a car that was so obvious, and with a TT000 license plate? Wasn't he just waiting for the police to find him? This was a contradiction. According to our analysis, this person's purpose might be to frame you. Lu Wangli said. This person covered his face at first, and then slowly revealed his face and the car. He's probably slowly revealing his purpose, since he's already exposed and didn't leave any fingerprints when he committed the crime. It means that he can't imitate your fingerprints. I think so too. This person wants to frame me, but which side is he on? Lin Yi frowned. He couldn't figure out who would use such a low-level method to frame him. I'm not sure yet, but this person's purpose, other than framing you, is to rob multiple banks, gold shops, shopping malls, and hotels in Songshan. He took a huge amount of wealth. Lu Wangli said. Oh, any results from your interrogation? Lin Yi asked. I was planning on coming to you tomorrow after your exams, but I didn't think you'd come today. Huaijuan smiled bitterly. The suspect's in the hospital right now. But I only broke his limbs. It shouldn't affect his speech, right? Lin Yi asked. Not really, Huaijuan said. But the problem is, this person's like an idiot right now. His eyes are lifeless and he doesn't respond at all when we ask him. What's going on? Lin Yi frowned as he recalled what had happened. He didn't seem to have touched the fake Lin Yi's head, and the fake Lin Yi was acting strangely when he made his move. His brain waves didn't change at all when we asked him questions, which means that he didn't hear us at all. The doctor also took a closer look, and the suspect's brain was damaged by drugs. He's basically in a vegetative state. Huaijuan smiled bitterly. This person is actually an idiot. Ah. Lin Yi blinked. Idiot? Then what about before? We've invited a professional neurologist to take a look at him, and he said that he might have been hypnotized by a very skilled hypnotist, and that he was only following the instructions of a hypnotist. But it's a very difficult thing to do. Huaijuan smiled bitterly. I wanted to ask you if you had any confidence in curing this person. Target equals _blank. Chapter 1579. That we'll have to wait and see. Lin Yi wasn't expecting things to turn out like this. He was a little surprised, but it made sense when he thought about it. This suspect, after a careful examination by the plastic surgery experts, was found to have undergone plastic surgery. So, this matter, just as we guessed, should be an attempt to frame you. Huaijuan said, It doesn't matter if it's for us or for you to find the enemy behind the scenes. It's very important. I'll try my best. Let's wait and see. Lin Yi nodded. But if his brain was damaged by drugs, then the chances of it being restored are very low. Let's go to the hospital together. Huaijuan said, Right. How are Lingshan and Wu Qintian? Lin Yi asked. It's miraculous. The doctor said that it's just an external injury and that the internal organs are all fine. It's a miracle, Wangli said, surprised. Huaijuan and Lin Yi looked at each other, knowing what was going on. Lingshan had told him about how miraculous Lin Yi was, but Wangli didn't know about it. Wangli still had things to do, so Huaijuan and Lin Yi went to the hospital together. There were only the two of them on the way, and it was much easier to talk. Eagle, is it someone you've offended before? Normal criminal gangs wouldn't have such advanced technology. Huaijuan said, From the plastic surgery and hypnosis techniques, as well as this person's instantaneous strength, it's not something a normal criminal gang can do. I've checked this person's strength, and he's no different from a normal person. He's not even a mystic. So, his strength was instantly boosted by the medicine, not his own strength. Oh, Huaijuan's words made Lin Yi fall into deep thought once more, but Lin Yi couldn't think of any force behind this. After all, Lin Yi had offended some criminal gangs before, but they didn't know about Lin Yi's current identity, and they didn't have the means to do something like this. Now that he thought about it, it seemed like he had made enemies after coming to Songshan, but he didn't know which family it was. I can't think of it right now, so let's not think too much about it. We'll go take a look when the time comes, Huaijuan said as he watched Lin Yi ponder. This kind of method shouldn't be something that an aristocratic family could do. It should be done at the level of hidden aristocratic families or sections. Yeah, we'll see when the time comes. Lin Yi smiled bitterly. He had offended quite a few people from hidden families and sections. Let's not talk about that. I heard from Ling Shan that you're planning on going against House Yu. Huaijuan asked after some hesitation. Lin Yi nodded. Sigh. Didn't I say before that we shouldn't do anything to House Yu without absolute certainty? Huaijuan sighed. According to my secret investigation, House Yu's backing isn't as simple as just the hidden House Yu. The common House Yu has done a lot of shady business in the dark, like drug trafficking, smuggling, and so on. These are all things that the hidden House Yu doesn't care about. So this business in the dark means that there must be someone powerful behind the common House Yu. June bro, why do I feel like you're overcautious now? More hesitant than before? Lin Yi asked instead of answering Huaijuan's question. Maybe it's because I'm getting older, and I understand that some things can't be done with courage and determination. Huaijuan said, a man should know when to submit and when to stand tall. Why do you need to be brave for a moment? Sometimes enduring silently is not necessarily a kind of wisdom. You know Qin Yutian. He was beaten up like that by Yufeng. Do you think I can tolerate that? Lin Yi shook his head. Plus, Qin Yutian is like this because of me. If I don't step on him, I'll be fine. Do you think I'll be able to sleep in the future? But Huaijuan knew that Lin Yi was speaking the truth, but sometimes, even if it was the truth, he had to think twice. Plus, even if it's not for Qin Yutian, I have to do it for Armadillo. Have you seen Ning Ziyu? She's such a pitiful child. Her brother's life and death are unknown, but she's still looking forward to reuniting with him one day. Lin Yi couldn't help but get emotional. If House Yu isn't destroyed, I won't be able to rest easy. Since you've made up your mind, there's nothing I can say. Huaijuan knew how protective Lin Yi was. Whether it was Armadillo or Qin Yutian, they were all Lin Yi's lackeys. If his lackeys were humiliated, Lin Yi, as the boss, would definitely stand up for them. From another perspective, if something happened to Huaijuan, Lin Yi would be the first to rush up. This was Lin Yi's personality. Since you know, then what's the point? Lin Yi smiled. Just be careful, Huaijuan said. Huaijuan said, the only thing I can do is help you investigate House Yu in secret. You know that noble houses are under the jurisdiction of the Secret Investigation Bureau, and I can't investigate them openly. The hidden noble houses and sects are under the jurisdiction of the Noble House Council, and I can't help them. Don't worry about the hidden House Yu for now. Lin Yi said, let's talk about House Yu first. Can you confirm that Armadillo has something to do with House Yu? 100%. Huaijuan nodded. House Yu has a close relationship with Red Conches. What happened back then was probably done by Red Conches, and House Yu acted as accomplices and thugs. No wonder I found it weird back then. Red Conches was just a normal international criminal organization, and they didn't have any masters. Why would they have a master and wipe us all out? So House Yu's masters were involved. Red Conch. Lin Yi frowned. He didn't expect the world to be so small. He had already fought with the Red Conches twice. It seemed that the next time he saw the Red Conches, they wouldn't just be helping Feng Tianlong. They would be fighting for him and Armadillo. Yes, this organization isn't to be underestimated. I heard that there's a big gang behind them. Huaijuan said, so don't think about messing with the Red Conches for now. It's really one thing after another. Lin Yi couldn't help but smile bitterly after listening. What big gang? I'm not sure yet. Huaijuan said, criminal organizations like this are hard to root out because there's a bigger power behind them. It'd be easier if they were isolated. But all the signs show that the sect behind this should be more powerful than the hidden families and normal sects. If you like this work, you are welcome to vote for me at Qijian. Your support is my greatest motivation. Target equals _ blank. Chapter 1580. Alright, then let's deal with House You first. Lin Yi sighed, knowing that it was hard to find the mastermind behind all this. He could only take revenge on House You first. How confident are you? Huaijuan asked. If I don't break through before the noble house meeting, with my strength as a mystic late phase, I'll have a 50-50 chance of winning. I heard that Shueixing is a mystic late phase peak. Lin Yi paused. If I break through to Earth class, then my chance of winning will be 100%. Of course, that's if the hidden house you doesn't interfere. But to be honest, your breaking through speed is really fast. I remember when I first met you in Songshan, you weren't even mystic yet, and now you're about to break through to Earth class. Huaijuan sighed, and Ling Shan, I've realized that your leveling speed is really amazing. Junbro, you can do it too. Lin Yi smiled. Didn't I tell you before? Let's go to the hospital later. I'll heal Qintian and Ling Shan first, and then I'll increase your strength. Ah, my meridians. Huaijuan paused. His meridians were already damaged, and his strength was greatly damaged. There was no way he could recover. If it weren't for Lin Yi's medicine, he would have died from the pain long ago. Recovering his strength, on the other hand, was something he didn't even dare think about. It can be healed, Lin Yi said. Chun Yutian was crippled back then, isn't he fine now? Eagle, you always bring us miracles before and now. Huaijuan smiled bitterly. I really can't believe it. You'll believe it in a bit, Lin Yi said. All right, but you've touched the common house you and the hidden house you. How do we deal with them? Huaijuan asked. I hope they won't interfere. If they do, then we'll have to face them, Lin Yi said. Have you thought about contacting Ning? Huaijuan asked. I met Yu Bing this time. Lin Yi changed the topic. The one in charge of the hidden house you is their father. Yu Bing can't do anything about it. You met Yu Bing? Huaijuan paused. Then you and Ning, why are you so nosy now? Lin Yi smiled bitterly. In the past, you weren't confident enough to give her the stable life she wanted. But you can do it now, Huaijuan insisted. Indeed. But do you think House Yu would agree to this marriage with my current situation? Lin Yi shook his head. I already have Tang Yun and Feng Xiao by my side. House Yu wants Yu Ning to be a concubine? I remember that you made a bold statement back then, asking House Yu to send 2 girls to be your concubines. Huaijuan smiled. Ah. Lin Yi shook his head. It depends on fate. Sometimes strength is everything. If I had the strength of a sky-class late-phase peak, in that case it's not impossible. That's true. In the noble houses and hidden houses, strength really does decide everything. Huaijuan nodded. The car stopped below the hospital, and Huaijuan and Lin Yi walked into the inpatient department. Huaijuan made a phone call, and a police officer came to pick them up. The suspect, Ling Shan and Qintian, were in a private room, not a normal one. Ever since the incident with Lu Bujia last time, Ling Shan and Qintian had been in a private room. After the incident with Lu Bujia, the police were much stricter with the suspects. After entering the special ward, Lin Yi saw quite a number of police officers standing in the hallway. They all greeted Huaijuan when they saw him. Lin Yi? Yang Bro? A familiar figure walked out of the ward with a tray of medicine. She was pleasantly surprised to see Lin Yi and Huaijuan. Xian. Lin Yi didn't expect to see Guan Xian here. You're still working in the hospital. Guan Xian had talked to Lin Yi last time, and he'd arranged for him to learn medicine from an old friend. He couldn't continue working in the hospital, but he didn't expect Guan Xian to still be in the hospital. Yeah, the teacher's family has some stuff to take care of. I heard his grandson's going to university, and he needs to sort things out first. Guan Xian said, So I'll continue working in the hospital. I see. Lin Yi nodded. All right, I'll leave you to it then. I'm going to visit a friend. Okay. Guan Xian nodded, hesitating for a long time before speaking with a red face. Can I contact you before I leave? As far as Guan Xian was concerned, it wouldn't be easy for her to meet Lin Yi after she left. This was the first boy she'd fallen for, and while she couldn't guarantee it, it was still nice to see him often. But if she left Songshan City, then the little bit of happiness she had now would be gone. Of course. Lin Yi nodded with a smile. Just give me a call. Okay. Guan Xian was a little excited, but she felt like she'd gone too far. She lowered her head and walked away quickly, forgetting to even say goodbye to Huaijuan. Linny, it looks like you're quite popular with the ladies. Huaijuan teased with a smile. June bro, don't joke around. Speaking of which, do you have any plans to get married? You're not young anymore, are you? Lin Yi asked. It depends on my family. You know that our Houseyoung isn't doing very well right now, so we need to find a suitable family for marriage. Huaijuan smiled bitterly. So, I can't make the decision myself. Huh. Maybe everything will change after this meeting? Lin Yi smiled. Oh. Huaijuan paused. Lin Yi was obviously hinting at something, but he didn't say it out loud. As they spoke, the two entered the sick room. Ling Shan and Qin Tian were talking at the bedside. Both of them were practitioners, and external injuries weren't much to them. All they needed to do was rest. Qin Tian was Lin Yi's follower, and it seemed like Ling Shan and Lin Yi had a good relationship, so the two got along quite well. Are the two of you all right? I've been busy with exams these few days, so I didn't come over. Lin Yi said as he looked at Ling Shan and Qin Tian's complexions. They looked pretty good. Boss Lin Yi, it's fine. If you have something to do, you can go ahead. My internal injuries have already been treated, so it's fine even if my external injuries aren't treated. Qin Tian said nonchalantly, this pain is nothing. Back when I was practicing Iron Fist arts, I was always covered in cuts and bruises. If you like this work, you are welcome to vote for me at Qijian. Your support is my greatest motivation. Target equals _blank. Chapter 1581. I'm fine, but that fake Lin. Ling Shan was worried about the case. If it weren't for the fact that she couldn't move, she would have been interrogating the suspect with the others. Translated from, many doctors have tried, but there's nothing they can do. Huaijuan sighed. So we asked Lin Yi to come and take a look? Yeah, let's treat your injuries first, and then we'll go see that person, Lin Yi said. June bro, tell the people outside not to come in and disturb us. No problem. Huaijuan was the vice director and the superior of all the officers here. His words were orders. After making the arrangements, Huaijuan stood at the door, watching over Lin Yi and the others. One in each hand, Lin Yi entered the jade space and started channeling the art of dragon mastery, starting to heal Ling Shan and Qin Tian. This was Huaijuan's first time seeing Lin Yi's miraculous. As far as he knew, only House Sun could do something like this. Even they couldn't heal two people at once like Lin Yi. Ling Shan and Qin Tian, on the other hand, were already used to it and cooperated with Lin Yi's healing. Both of them had external injuries, not injuries to their strength. Therefore, it didn't take long for them to recover. Lin Yi let go of their wrists and waved at Huaijuan. You can switch now, June bro, come here. Huaijuan walked over suspiciously, only to see Ling Shan and Qin Tian standing up as if nothing had happened, getting off the bed and walking around freely. It was only now that Huaijuan fully believed that Lin Yi was this strong. Huaijuan's injuries were old, but most of them were damaged to his meridians. It wasn't easy to heal, but it was only a matter of time for Lin Yi. This time, it was Ling Shan and Qin Tian's turn to watch over him. Finally, Huaijuan became a golden class late phase peak spiritual practitioner before the sky turned dark. Lin Yi didn't compress his qi to force Huaijuan to break through because his meridians had been damaged for too long, and Lin Yi was worried that it wouldn't be stable yet. He didn't dare compress his qi, afraid that it would damage his meridians again. He'd just break through to Earth class, and then he'd level him up as well. But even a golden class late phase peak was enough to surprise Huaijuan. He'd thought that he'd never be able to train again in his life. But now it seemed as if he wasn't injured at all, and his strength was even stronger than before. Eagle, I'll call you boss from now on. You don't have to call me Junbro anymore. It makes me uncomfortable. Huaijuan said, with your strength, being my boss is too much for me. Qintian called Lin Yi boss as well. Huaijuan knew that Lin Yi was amazing. He understood Qintian's personality. In the noble house, other than the masters of House Yu, there was no one else he admired in the younger generation. Yet, he was acting like this in front of Lin Yi. Huaijuan made his decision. Lin Yi didn't correct Huaijuan, calling him Ing. Everyone here was trustworthy. They knew Lin Yi's biggest secret, and what happened in the past didn't matter anymore. After these two incidents, Lin Yi had become Qintian's confidant. He was willing to risk his life to protect Tang Yun and Lin Yi twice. This wasn't something a normal person could do. Whatever you want, but I'm used to calling you Junbro. You can call me whatever you want. Lin Yi smiled. Let's go check out the suspect. All right, Lin Yi boss, over here. Huaijuan nodded. Lingshan and Qintian didn't need to stay in the hospital anymore. The four of them walked towards the suspect's room. The police officers outside the room were surprised to see Lingshan and Qintian walking again, but Huaijuan was there, so they couldn't ask. Lin Yi came to the suspect's room and saw the man who looked exactly like him. The only difference was that the man's eyes were lifeless and his limbs were in plaster casts. He laid on the bed with an expressionless face. Lin Yi frowned. As expected, the situation was similar to what Huaijuan said. He was in a vegetative state. That's it. Can you see if you can do anything? Huaijuan pointed at the suspect and said helplessly, if this person stays like this, we won't be able to find out who's behind him, let alone get back the stolen assets. I'll try. Lin Yi didn't have much confidence. He could only wait and see. He walked up and Lin Yi started doing a full body check on the suspect. Lin Yi didn't need to use any apparatus. His hands were the best apparatus. He transferred his qi into the suspect's body, and Lin Yi started checking on the suspect's condition. The 5 viscera and 6 bowels of the criminal suspect had all suffered different degrees of serious injuries, but at present they were close to recovery, although there might be some sequelae in the future. This also showed that the other party's criminal gang had someone with excellent medical skills who could quickly heal the criminal suspect after he was injured. Lin Yi's body didn't have too many problems, but when it came to the brain, Lin Yi couldn't help but frown. How is it? Huaijuan and Lingshan couldn't help but ask after Lin Yi didn't speak for a long time. It's not easy. The doctor was right. The suspect's brain isn't necrotic, but it's changed because of the drug. The toxins have invaded the entire brain. Lin Yi said with a bitter smile. I've tried, but my treatment doesn't work on him. Lin Yi's universal qi was omnipotent and could heal people, but the problem was that the suspect wasn't actually injured, but his brain had been poisoned by the drug. It had changed the structure of his brain, and even if he could find a way to expel the toxins, there was no way he could recover. Plus, even if he did recover, the person's memories would only be from before the toxins had invaded his brain. He wouldn't be able to remember the hypnotist's instructions during this period of time, and it wouldn't help solve the case at all. There's no way. Huaijuan wasn't too disappointed, having expected this. Even if there is, it wouldn't be of any help to the case. With that, Lin Yi told Huaijuan and Lingshan the conclusion he'd come to. Target equals _ blank. Chapter 1582. Target equals _ blank Xiao, looks like there's really no hope, Huaijuan said helplessly. The mastermind behind this is clearly prepared for the suspect to be apprehended. If that's the case, he's not afraid that this person will say anything. Lin Yi said, Yeah, looks like we'll have to think of another way, Huaijuan nodded. I'll go back and think about it, see if there's a way. If there's no other way, then I'm sorry. Lin Yi said, Junbro, Lingshan, Qingtian, and I will go back first. I need to find an opportunity to break through. Otherwise, I won't be able to avenge Qin Yutian in the noble house meeting. Sure, then go back quickly. Huaijuan nodded. There's nothing for you to do here, since the suspect was arrested on the spot. Even if he doesn't say anything, the evidence is conclusive. It's just that the mastermind behind him is taking advantage of it. After saying goodbye, Lin Yi and Qingtian returned to the villa. On the way, Qingtian said apologetically, Boss, I've let you down. I didn't think I'd be this weak. It's not your fault. You tried your best. Lin Yi waved his hand. Wait until I break through to Earth class. Then I'll help you guys increase your strength. Okay. Qingtian was excited at Lin Yi's words. So I'm going to surpass my grandpa soon? Just thinking about it makes me excited. Boss, do you think our house will be able to level up in this noble house meeting? Level up? Who's going to level you up? Lin Yi asked with a smile. Naturally, it'll be House Yu. Qingtian said with a weird expression. After this noble house meeting, House Yu will no longer be a noble house. Lin Yi said faintly. Awesome. Qingtian was very excited. Lin Yi boss, I've been studying the essence of acting cool. But now I know that it's not just acting cool. Acting cool isn't enough. You have to be really awesome. Only then can you act cool. Just like you, boss. One simple sentence, but it's so awesome. Lin Yi was speechless. Can't you focus on something more serious? All right, I'll do my best. Qingtian nodded. Lin Yi didn't go home immediately. Instead, he called Feng Tianlong. After he came back, he first met with a problem. Then it was the college entrance exam. Lin Yi didn't have time to meet Feng Tianlong. He believed that Feng Tianlong must be very worried about Xiao Xiao. So the first person Lin Yi contacted was Feng Tianlong after he was done with this. Uncle Feng, where are you? Lin Yi asked. Little Yi, you're back? Feng Tianlong heard Lin Yi's voice and was pleasantly surprised. How's Xiao Xiao? Did you find the fire spirit's fruit? I didn't find the fire spirit's fruit, but I have good news for you. Where are you? Lin Yi asked. Where are you? I'll go find you. Feng Tianlong obviously couldn't reveal his location. In that case, let's go to the Chu clan's villa. I'll wait for you there, Lin Yi said. All right. Feng Tianlong said, I'll be right there. When Lin Yi returned to the villa, Feng Tianlong had already arrived at the villa. Feng Tianlong arrived at the villa at the same time. Their cars entered the villa one after the other. Uncle Feng. Lin Yi got off the car and greeted Feng Tianlong. Little Yi, how is it? Feng Tianlong nodded. His mind was completely on Xiao Xiao, so naturally he didn't have time to chat with Lin Yi. Xiao Xiao is awake. Everything is normal. Lin Yi saw through Feng Tianlong's thoughts. Oh, where's Xiao Xiao? Feng Tianlong looked left and right. He didn't see his daughter and was confused. Let's talk inside. Lin Yi made an inviting gesture and led Feng Tianlong into the house. In the living room, Tang Yun, Meng Yao, and Yushu were watching TV. The college entrance exam was over, and they could finally relax. When the three saw Feng Tianlong, they politely turned off the TV. Tang Yun went to get drinks for Feng Tianlong, while Meng Yao went to find slippers for him. Lin Yi told Feng Tianlong about the trial and how Xiao Xiao stayed in the Ice Palace to train. Ice Palace? Ice Palace? They're interested in Xiao Xiao? The Ice Palace master took in a disciple on behalf of her master and said that Xiao Xiao would become the next palace master? Feng Tianlong's eyes widened in shock as if he had heard something unbelievable. Yes, Ice Palace. Do you know about it? Feng Tianlong's reaction made Lin Yi feel strange. I heard about it. Feng Tianlong took a deep breath and said faintly, It's a very powerful ancient sect, but our investigation department doesn't have much contact with the ancient sects. I see. Lin Yi felt that Feng Tianlong was implying something, but since he didn't say anything, Lin Yi couldn't ask. Xiao Xiao is so lucky to have met you. Otherwise, even if she had the Yin body, she wouldn't have been discovered. She wouldn't have been able to become an inner disciple of the Ice Palace or even become the future palace master. Feng Tianlong's expression darkened. Since the fire spirit's fruit can't cure her Yin body, then Su Su. If she knew about this earlier, Su Su wouldn't have. Right, Uncle Feng, don't worry. Xiao Xiao asked the Ice Palace master about Auntie Su Su. Lin Yi smiled. Xiao Xiao cares about her mother's situation too, of course, she asked. Oh, what did the Ice Palace master say? Feng Tianlong quickly asked. Once Xiao Xiao breaks through to Sky Class, she'll be able to refine the Yin energy in Auntie Su Su's body for her own use. Auntie Su Su will become a normal person from then onwards. Although she won't be able to train anymore, she'll have a few more decades of lifespan. Lin Yi said, Of course, these few decades are from when she wakes up. She's only at 20 years old now, around the same age as Xiao Xiao. A few decades is good, a few decades is good. I'm a golden class master now, and my lifespan is longer than normal people. If I count it this way, then Su Su and I don't have much time left. I'm so thankful that this day has finally come. Feng Tianlong was so emotional that his voice changed. But don't you want to break through again? Do you only want to stop at your current strength? Lin Yi asked. Lin Yi originally wanted to help Feng Tianlong increase his strength as well, but it seemed that Feng Tianlong didn't want to do that. Chapter 1583. Target equals _blank. E-Search Novels Chapter 1582. Mysterious the Ancient House of Feng. Ha! Lin Yi said with a smile. Actually, Xiao Xiao can just give Auntie Su Su an arts that's suitable for her after breaking through to Sky Class. It might not be as successful as Xiao Xiao, but it'll still be able to prolong her lifespan. So don't delay your training because of this. Ah, that's right. The power of a Sky Class master is not something we can imagine. Tianlong nodded and sighed. Who would have thought that my daughter would become a Sky Class master, and the next sect master of the Ice Palace too? Feng Tianlong. Oh, Feng Tianlong, you sure have a lot of face. Tianlong's sighing made Lin Yi and the others feel confused. Perhaps there was a story behind Tianlong, but this wasn't something Lin Yi could understand. Net 7 asterisk, Shield Bro. Why don't you tell us the process of the trial? We don't have anything to do now. I want to hear about it, Yushu said. On the way to the exam, Lin Yi had only briefly described what had happened to Tang Yin, Meng Yao, and Yushu. He didn't go into the details, so Yushu liked to hear about it. Lin Yi naturally told Yushu everything that had happened, including how he got to know Chikuan. When Lin Yi said that Feng Nitian was heavily injured, Tianlong's face froze as a weird expression appeared on his face. He couldn't help but exclaim, Ancient House Feng? Feng Nitian? Yes, Uncle Feng, do you know him? Lin Yi found it strange as well. Uncle Feng, do you know who Feng Nitian is? I don't. Tianlong shook his head. Continue. I've only heard of the Ancient House Feng, and because we're both surnamed Feng, I paid attention to them. I didn't think that someone would be able to learn the heaven-defying martial arts, but you destroyed it. I wonder how sad the Feng family will be this time. Feng Nitian asked for it. I couldn't do anything about it. Lin Yi felt like Tianlong was hiding something, or perhaps he had some unknown connection with the Ancient House Feng. Both had the surname Feng. Could they really be related? That's right, he asked for it. Even if it wasn't, it's fine. You wanted to win the test for Xiao Xiao. Even if you beat him to death, it's fine. Tianlong shook his head sadly. I'm tired. I'll leave first. I need to see Su Su. I can't suppress my excitement. I need to see her and talk to her. All right, Uncle Feng, you can go. Lin, he didn't say much as he got up to send Feng Tianlong back. You 7 asterisk. It was obvious that Tianlong's expression was lonely, especially after hearing that Feng Nitian was crippled by Lin Yi, ancient house Feng. Holy Hall! Feng Nitian was sent back by the Ice Palace, and the one who came out to welcome him was the current young head of the ancient house Feng, Tian Lin. For a visitor, this was already a very high standard of reception. After all, the Ice Palace had only sent an emissary, while the Feng family had sent a young master. The status of the ancient Feng family and the Ice Palace was obvious at a glance. Feng Tianlin represents the ancient house Feng to welcome the Ice Palace messenger. Tianlin said loudly as he walked out of the house Feng's courtyard. Naturally, Feng Tianlin knew why the Ice Palace envoy was here, but Feng Nitian wasn't his biological son. He was his nephew, and Feng Tianlin knew about Nitian's wild ambition. Now that Nitian was a cripple, it was a bit of a pity, but more than that, it was a relief. Nitian's talent could bring the rise of House Feng, that was without a doubt. But at the same time, Feng Tianlin would be ostracized if Nitian were to rise. Ever since his eldest brother left House Feng, the competition for the head of House Feng became very intense. In the blink of an eye, 20 years had passed, and Tianlin still wasn't able to become the head of House Feng. The old man of House Feng still didn't want to give up his position, and so the competition was still very intense. Ever since Nitian's godly arts were completed, the third brother's family had become very arrogant, looking like they were going to replace Tianlin. Tianlin didn't say anything, but he felt a sense of urgency. But now, the third brother's bloodline was done for, and Tianlin was definitely going to become the head of House Feng. Young Master Feng, I am under the orders of the Ice Palace Master to escort the Feng disciple, Feng Nitian, back. Nitian got into a fight with someone during the test, and was injured due to his lack of strength. He has been disqualified. The Ice Palace messenger said, Yes, thank you for escorting me, messenger. Tianlin sighed. Only a big sect like the Ice Palace could be so forceful. Someone was injured on their side, and they were disqualified after sending him back. The person is here. I'll be returning to report. The Ice Palace messenger said, Messenger, I've prepared some food and drinks. Would you like to have some before leaving? Tianlin asked. No need. The palace master doesn't want me to stay. Farewell. The Ice Palace messenger cupped his fists and left. Nitian, on the other hand, was sitting on a wooden chair, looking at House Feng's courtyard in despair, his face bitter and bitter. Men, bring Nitian in to rest. Tianlin waved his hand at his men. Just like that, Nitian was carried into House Feng, and Tianlin sighed as he watched the Ice Palace messenger leave. He turned and walked into the courtyard as well. The letter from the Ice Palace had been sent to House Feng long ago, saying that Nitian was injured. However, the letter was vague and didn't explain the cause of the injury. House Feng could only wait for Nitian to come back. Tianlin had just entered the courtyard when a Feng disciple ran over. Young master, the head of the house is having a family meeting in the meeting hall. He wants you to attend immediately. All right, I'll be there now. Tianlin nodded. His father's reaction was within his expectations. House Feng had such a big thing going on. Naturally, they had to have a meeting to come up with a plan. Tianlin quickly rushed to the meeting room and found that his third brother, Feng Tianhu, had already arrived. He was Feng Nitian's father, and he was sitting in his seat with a dark expression. Beside him was his fourth brother, Feng Tianyao. The patriarch's seat was empty. Clearly, he had not arrived yet. However, beside the patriarch's seat, there were 3 old men. They were the Feng family's first elder and second elder. There was also a guest elder with a different surname. The first and second elder had the surname Feng, but they weren't related to House Feng by blood. They were disciples of House Feng and were promoted to elders. Chapter 1584. Target equals _ blank. E-Search Novels Chapter 1583. Mysterious the Ancient Origin. Greetings to the three elders. Feng Tianlin walked into the conference hall and clasped his hands at the three elders to show his respect. He may be the young head of House Feng, but before he became the head of house, he still had to treat these elders with respect, because these three elders were all stronger than Feng Tianlin. Feng Tianlin was only an Earth-class late-phase peak right now, while these three elders were Sky-class masters. After the greeting, Feng Tianlin sat down in his seat. Feng Tianhu looked at him with a vengeful gaze, but it disappeared as quickly as it came. But Feng Tianlin still felt a chill. Feng Tianlin couldn't help but smile bitterly. He had always been at odds with this third brother of his. Ever since his big brother left, there had been countless fights. However, this was something that couldn't be helped. It turned out that when his elder brother was still alive, his father had already selected him as the next patriarch of the Feng family. Moreover, he had found a powerful family for him to marry into. It could be said that it was only natural for his elder brother to become the future patriarch of the Feng family. But some things happened after that, causing his big brother to leave the house, and the position of the head of house was empty. Feng Tianlin used the power of the house to barely beat his third brother, and got the position of the young head of house. But there was still a long way to go before he could become the head of house, and he couldn't let his guard down, especially after his third brother's son, Feng Nitian, had mastered the sky-defying arts. His third brother, Feng Tianhu, had already taken the position of the next head of house. After all, it was obvious that Feng Nitian was going to be the next head of house, and if he didn't, who would? Feng Tianlin was worried, but at the same time he didn't know what to do. But now something like this happened. From Feng Tianlin's personal point of view, this was something to be happy about, but from the long-term perspective of House Feng, this wasn't the case. Feng Nitian's appearance would change House Feng's position in the ancient era. Before, House Feng was at the bottom of the ancient noble houses, not even comparable to the Dark Palace. House Feng had more sky-class masters than Dark Knight Palace, but Dark Knight Palace was a proper ancient sect. The sect was located in a spirit mountain and spirit vein, and there were people in the sect who could receive the ancient inheritance. However, a clan like the Feng family was different. They only obtained some treasures or secret cultivation manuals from ancient ruins. They weren't like some ancient sects or families. Not only did they obtain some treasures or secret cultivation manuals from ancient ruins, but they also built their sect on top of the ancient ruins. In fact, the so-called ancient sects and ancient families were not at the true ancient level, nor were they passed down from the ancient times. They only found the ruins of the true ancient sects and built their sects or families on the ruins. They also took the treasures and cultivation manuals in the ruins for themselves. After many years, they became ancient sects, and these kinds of ruins were mostly built on spirit mountains and spirit veins. The spirit energy of heaven and earth was dense, and it was also convenient for cultivation. There were even some ancient ruins that could allow disciples with suitable physiques to inherit the strength of ancient times. Therefore, the status of these ancient sects and clans was obviously higher than that of ordinary ancient sects and clans. And so, this was why Dark Knight Palace had a high status despite having few sky-class masters. 7 by 7 star. 9 star. House Feng, on the other hand, had 4 sky-class masters, but they were just a noble house. They didn't have much to show. It wasn't that the Feng family didn't want to establish their family on the ancient ruins, but it was because the ancient ruins had gone through thousands of years of changes when they discovered it. The heaven and earth spirit chi had long disappeared, and the ancient ruins had become a town or city. There was no point in establishing a family there. Because of this, if Nitian really did learn the sky-defying arts, then House Feng's status would skyrocket. The sky-defying arts was an ancient practitioner's art, and its power was immense. Old Man Feng's face was gloomy as he hurried into the meeting room. He walked to the main seat and sat down. He looked around at the people in the meeting room before his eyes landed on Feng Tianlin and Feng Tianhu. Of course, old Master Feng knew about the competition between the two brothers. However, he didn't stop them. As long as they didn't cross his bottom line, he was happy to see the next generation grow up in competition. Without competition, an overly comfortable life would lead the Feng family to decline. But what was happening now had clearly crossed Old Man Feng's bottom line. But Old Man Feng wasn't sure if Feng Tianlin was behind this or not. After all, it was too difficult to work with the Ice Palace, not to mention Feng Tianlin, a young master. Even if Old Man Feng did it himself, the Ice Palace might not give him face. Everyone knows about sky defying. What do you two think? Old Man Feng looked at Feng Tianlin and Feng Tianhu. Father, sky defying is the hope of House Feng. Now that he's a cripple, we can't live under the same sky as this enemy. We must avenge him. Feng Tianhu said agitatedly. He didn't look closely, but just a simple look was enough to tell that Feng Nitian was hopeless. A normal meridian opening pill had no effect on him. It could only repair a small portion of the meridians in the body. For someone like Nitian, who had all his meridians broken and even lost an arm, it was completely useless. Even with the existence of the grade 5 super meridian opening pill, it could only repair the damaged meridians in the body. The destroyed palm could not be regenerated. Without the palm, it was impossible to cultivate the heaven-defying divine technique. This was because when using the heaven-defying divine technique, one would first need to form a few hand seals. Without the palm, how could one form hand seals? We haven't figured out who the enemy is yet. What revenge? Old Man Feng frowned and looked at Feng Tianlin. What did the Ice Palace say? They didn't say anything. With the Ice Palace's rules, they can't reveal who did this. So I think we should wait until Sky Defying calms down and let him say it himself? Feng Tianlin said. But even if we know who the enemy is, I don't recommend taking revenge. Second brother, what do you mean? Don't take revenge? Sky Defying is already crippled, and you still don't want to take revenge? Are you even his second uncle? Feng Tianhu panicked. Chapter 1585. Target equals _ e-search novels this. Then we can't just let this go. Feng Tianhu wasn't an idiot. After hearing Feng Tianlin's words, his heart froze. That's right, with Feng Nitian's godly arts, he was invincible under Earth class. Even if he met an Earth class early phase, he would still be able to stop them even if he lost some of his strength. But now he was heavily injured. This person's strength couldn't be underestimated, and the power that could raise such a talent was definitely not a normal power. Of course, we can't just let this go. But for now, I agree to bear with it. The Sky class meeting is getting closer and closer, and we've been preparing for it all these years. It's not wise to make enemies now. We have quite a few Sky class masters in our house, but we definitely don't have a lot of them. Plus, our position in the meeting isn't high. If we make enemies and get disqualified because of this, we'll lose more than we gain. Feng Tianlin said, the minimum requirement for the Sky class meeting is Sky class, but to be able to participate in the core secrets, you have to be Sky class late phase peak. In our house, only my father has the right to participate. We have to be careful. What Tianlin said makes sense. Old Master Feng nodded and said, Tianhu, let's figure out the cause and effect of this matter first. If someone really bullied our Feng family, then our Feng family is not a pushover. No matter what, we have to get an explanation. But if it's just a normal sparring or competition, then let's just forget about it for now. If we go looking for trouble with someone else, we'll be in the wrong. It might affect our qualification for the Sky class meeting. Yes. Although Feng Tian, who was extremely unwilling, he could only nod and agree since Old Man Feng had already said so. But in his heart he was thinking, should he take revenge for his son in private? After all, This son of his was his hope, and now it was ruined. He couldn't accept this. This wasn't as simple as Fong Nitian being crippled. This was his dream of becoming the head of the house, being destroyed. He couldn't accept this. The internal strife of the Fong family and old Master Feng's caution had delayed their plan to take revenge on Lin Yi. This was something that Lin Yi did not expect. A few days after the college entrance exam ended, Lin Yi spent most of his time locked in his room. His daily task was to cultivate in the jade pendant space, cultivating day and night. He must reach the earth rank before the aristocratic family assembly. Therefore, he couldn't stop for even a moment. Lin Yi was blessed with a unique cultivation environment. The space within the jade pendant allowed him to absorb an unlimited amount of worldly spiritual energy. Compared to others, he was much stronger. However, cultivation was not something that could be accomplished overnight. There was a saying that went, 10,000 zhang tall buildings start from the ground. More haste, less speed, this was the truth. Although Lin Yi wanted to level up, he couldn't eat a fatty in one go. Lin Yi had been stuck at the bottleneck of Mystic Late Phase Peak for a couple of days now. He was so close to breaking through to Mystic Late Phase Peak, but there was no progress at all. The day of the aristocratic family assembly was getting closer and closer, but Lin Yi had no other choice. He had already made such a bold statement, and now he was still 2 levels away from the earth rank, let alone reaching the earth rank now. Even if he wanted to break through to Mystic Late Phase Peak, it would be extremely difficult. Finally, after so many failed attempts, Lin Yi decided to use the most dangerous method, which was to compress his pure qi to break through. This method was extremely dangerous, and one mistake could cause his meridians to explode. Although Lin Yi had the support of General Weiwu and the Lightning Pig, this method was no different from playing with his own life, especially when Lin Yi had just broken through with this method. His meridians weren't stable yet, and if he continued using this method, who knew if there would be any side effects? But now that things had come to this, Lin Yi had no other choice but to use this method. And so, on a dark and windy night, Lin Yi placed General Weiwu and the Lightning Pig beside him and told them to protect him. Lin Yi also told Wu Qingtian to guard his door. After doing all this, Lin Yi entered the jade space and entered a state of cultivation, preparing to use the compressed pure qi to break through to Mystic Late Phase Peak. When everything was ready, Lin Yi used the art of dragon mastery and gathered the energy around him. Lin Yi was only 1 step away from Mystic Late Phase Peak, so normally speaking, Lin Yi wouldn't be able to absorb any more pure qi from the jade space. Even if he could, it would be very little and wouldn't help him break through at all. Lin Yi started compressing the energy around him. Maybe it was because the energy in the jade space was the same as the energy in his body, so Lin Yi could control the energy around him. But at the same time, when he was in the outside world, Lin Yi couldn't compress the energy around him. He could only compress his own energy. Lin Yi didn't dare compress too much, afraid that the sudden release of energy would cause his meridians to explode. After estimating that it was enough for him to break through to Mystic Late Phase Peak, Lin Yi abruptly sucked the energy into his body and released it. Boom! Lin Yi felt as if something exploded in his body, blowing up his clothes. The explosion was internal, but Lin Yi was in so much pain that he almost spat out blood. Lin Yi felt as if his meridians were on fire. It was very uncomfortable, but the pain came and went quickly. Lin Yi soon returned to normal, but Lin Yi tragically realized that he hadn't leveled up at all. He was still at Mystic Late Phase. Didn't level up? Lin Yi muttered to himself strangely. Nope. Jiao Yazi looked at Lin Yi and said with certainty, Why is that? Lin Yi didn't understand. Jiao Lao, the amount of energy I controlled this time is the same as last time. Theoretically, I should be able to level up, right? There's no why. The higher the level, the more energy you need to break through. Of course, you can't use the amount of energy you used to break through this time? Elder Jiao said, it's like the amount of pure qi you need to break through from golden to mystic and from mystic to earth. It's definitely different. Chapter 1586. Target equals _ blank. E-Search Novels Chapter 1585. Return It was still a failure. I didn't say that. To be honest, I've never heard of something like this. At least not in my memory. You sure are creative, Jiao Yazi said. If you're in a hurry to break through, you can give it a try, but I won't be responsible if something goes wrong. Website. Then I'll give it a try. Lin Yi nodded and entered his training mode again, channeling the art of dragon mastery to compress the energy around him. This time, Lin Yi increased the amount of energy he compressed, but just to be safe, he didn't increase it by too much, only 5 times. After the qi entered his body, Lin Yi felt like he was about to explode again. Of course, Lin Yi could still bear the pain, but the tragedy was that after the explosion, Lin Yi realized that he was still at mystic late phase, not peak. It's not enough. Lin Yi frowned, not expecting one. 5 times of energy to still not be enough for him to break through. Maybe this method isn't suitable anymore. Jiao Yazi said, it can be used when you're at a lower level, but the higher you go, the harder it is to break through. If everyone was like you, wouldn't there be sky-class masters everywhere? Now, I've met a lot of sky-class masters, haven't I? Lin Yi smiled bitterly. Sanctuary where? Go walk around the streets tomorrow and find me a sky-class master? Jiao Yazi said with disdain. If you didn't come into contact with that level, you'd probably never see a sky-class master in your life. You think there are a lot of sky-class masters because you've come into contact with that level. But how many are there in the entire ancient level? You're right. Does that mean I can't break through? Lin Yi asked, unwilling to give up. What if I increase the amount of energy I compress? You can try. Jiao Yazi shook his head. I don't really understand what you're doing now. Lin Yi nodded and continued compressing the energy. This time he gritted his teeth and increased the energy by more than 2 times. Boom! The energy entered Lin Yi's body and made a loud noise. Lin Yi felt like his meridians were inflating like balloons. And then there was another loud bang. Lin Yi couldn't help but let out a muffled grunt. Cold sweat dripping down his forehead. Lin Yi not only didn't break through, but he also broke through most of his meridians. Lin Yi's meridians, his meridians were like balloons bursting. But luckily, only a portion of his meridians were damaged. Lin Yi didn't need to look for General Weiwu or Skybolt Pig. He could repair his damaged meridians by himself. But even though his meridians could be repaired, Lin Yi was extremely depressed. He actually failed. Maybe Jiao Yazi was right. As his strength increased, he couldn't use energy compression as a cheat to increase his strength. Maybe the last time he broke through, the amount of energy he absorbed was the maximum his meridians could take. Once it exceeded this critical point, his meridians wouldn't be able to take it anymore. Maybe, in theory, Lin Yi could break through with twice the amount of energy, but in reality, his meridians couldn't take it. In other words, Lin Yi might not be able to use this method to break through in the future. Lin Yi, who had repaired his meridians, sighed dejectedly. It still doesn't work. Looks like I don't have a cheat. Your training speed is already fast enough. What else are you not satisfied with? Jiao Yazi couldn't help but try to persuade Lin Yi after seeing how depressed he was. Website. Fast enough? Is Zhang Naipeo fast? Lin Yi smiled bitterly. It's only been a few months, and Zhang Naipeo has become a master on the same level as me. Your training speed isn't actually slower than his. Think about it carefully. In fact, your level up started from these few months. The years before you entered the Jade Pendant space were almost equivalent to a waste of time. It can be ignored. Elder Jiao said, You're right, but his practitioner's arts are really strong, able to turn other people's qi into his own. If I didn't have the Jade space, I wouldn't be his opponent at all. Lin Yi sighed. If I remember correctly, the chrysanthemum arts is the same as your art of dragon mastery. They're both extremely powerful ancient arts, one evil and one righteous, and they balance each other out. Jiao Yazi said, but my memory is limited right now. I can't remember much more. I'll only remember something after you open the second door. Oh, that's amazing, Lin Yi exclaimed after hearing Jiao Yazi's words. But if it's as you say and both are extremely powerful arts, then how could the art of dragon mastery be a match for the chrysanthemum arts without the jade space? No, you've forgotten something very important, Jiao Yazi said. In the ancient times, the qi of heaven and earth was very plentiful. The art of dragon mastery doesn't need the jade space at all. Ah, Lin Yi understood. All this time, Lin Yi had thought that Zhang Naipeo's arts were stronger than his, and that if it weren't for the fact that Lin Yi had created some trump cards himself, he wouldn't be Zhang Naipeo's match at all. But he'd forgotten about the current environment. Who knows? Maybe you'll have some unexpected gains after you open the second stage of the art of dragon mastery, Jiao Yazi said with a smile. The second stage. There's still some time before the stone door opens. Then, I can't break through during this time. Lin Yi didn't want to give up. He really didn't want to. I don't have a way, but you can think of one yourself. Jiao Yazi shrugged. All right. Lin Yi smiled bitterly. Lin Yi was worried, but he didn't show it on the surface. Every day, other than training, he lived happily with Meng Yao, Yushu, and Tang Yin, eating and watching TV together. Since the exams were over, Tang Yin didn't have to live here anymore. She played here in the day and went back to spend time with her parents at night. After all, she'd have to go to university somewhere else and wouldn't be in the city. There weren't many days left for Tang Yin to spend with her parents. Chapter 1587. Target equals _blank. Yichuan Novels Chapter 1586. Piliang Stratagem Camping Trip? What do you and Yao think? Lin Yi didn't really care if he went or not, but the decision was up to Meng Yao and Yushu. Yichua, of course we want to go, Yushu said. Meng Yao walked out of the kitchen at that moment, 2 bottles of drinks in her hands. She popped one open and shoved it right into Shu's mouth, almost choking her to death as the drink flowed down her throat. Shu, didn't I tell you not to say anything? Why aren't you listening? Meng Yao glared at Yushu. Cough, cough. Yao, you're trying to murder me. Yushu finally swallowed the drink in her mouth and rolled her eyes. But I want to go. I've been cooped up at home for so many days, it's boring. Lin Yi's busy with training. He has work to do. Of course, he can't go with us. Meng Yao said. Watch TV at home. It's pretty interesting. You can just imagine yourself as the main character. No, the main character isn't as good as Shield Bro. It'll be even worse if I imagine myself. Yushu shook her head. Ow. Meng Yao didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Then imagine yourself as Shield Bro, the Holy Temple. Ugh. Yushu blinked. All right, it's just going out to play, right? Lin Yi smiled. I'm at a bottleneck for a breakthrough. Anyway, maybe I'll get something good out of it and break through in one go. Lin Yi was very grateful for Meng Yao's thoughtfulness, but this girl was always like that. She cared about others, but acted so indifferent. Oh, that's great. I'll call and sign up right now. Lin Yi promised. Yushu looked very happy as she turned to make the call. Meng Yao shrugged. It's a class activity, so we can't bring Tang Yin along. Can you talk to her and make sure she doesn't get any ideas? Yeah, that's fine. Lin Yi said. I'll explain it to her. It didn't take long for Yushu to confirm the time and location of the trip. This time, the location chosen by the class wasn't too far away. It was at a resort near Songshan and could be considered a small scenic spot. However, everyone's main purpose wasn't to see the scenery, but to take this opportunity to get together. After all, once they graduated from high school, everyone would go their separate ways. Their original classmates would have very different lives after they passed high school. Some people were admitted to their ideal university. Some fell behind. Some inherited their family business and became a boss, and some chose to repeat their studies. The time of the trip was set to be Friday night of this week, and the gathering point was at the resort. In Pinliang's villa, Xiaofu and Xiaofu sat together, looking at the letter in front of them. They were both sighing and frowning. Pao may have profited from this misfortune and unlocked the second stage of the Chrysanthemum Bible, but no matter what, he still lost to Lin Yi. I didn't think that Lin Yi was already a mystic late-phase master. Hatred flashed in Pinliang's eyes. Why is it so hard to kill him? Liang bro, there's no point in panicking. We still have to wait for Pao to master his martial arts. Otherwise, the two of us won't even be a match for him. Xiaofu was a bit depressed as well. We don't know anyone else other than Pao. We really aren't noobs when it comes to dealing with Lin Yi. We don't have to use force. Pinliang said faintly, "This class reunion is a good chance to deal with Lin Yi. Even if we can't do anything to him, we can at least make him sick. I just can't stand Meng Yao being with him. Liang bro, you still haven't given up on Meng Yao?" Xiaofu asked. "How could I give up that easily? I understand now that she and that Yushu girl have been toying with me all this time. But I still can't forget her," Pinliang said. "Even if I can't have her, I can't let Lin Yi have her. Then, what about Jiang Wen?" Xiaofu said quickly, "Liang bro, we can't make too many enemies right now. Messing with Lin Yi isn't a big deal. But Jiang Wen definitely won't let this go so easily." Of course, I know that. I'll bear with it for now. But Jiang Wen, that's nothing. I'll kill him sooner or later." Pinliang humphed coldly. "He made me lose a kidney, but I'll make him lose his life. Then, how are we going to deal with Lin Yi in this class reunion?" Xiaofu asked. "Haha, I've been holding back for so long. It's time for me to make a move and frame Lin Yi," Pinliang said. "But as for how to do that, I have a plan. Come closer." "Okay." Xiaofu tilted his head. "When the time comes, we'll get a pack of aphrodisiac and put it in Lin Yi's wine glass. Everyone here is from our class, and Lin Yi won't be able to defend himself. Plus, we've been out of sight for so long. Lin Yi definitely won't be on guard against us." Pinliang lowered his voice. "When the time comes, we'll think of a way to put Lin Yi and Meng Yao in the same room during dinner. When that happens, Lin Yi will be burning with lust, haha. Wouldn't that be letting Lin Yi off easy?" Xiaofu blinked. "Are you an idiot? Would Meng Yao agree? Of course she'd scream, and the whole class would hear her scream. How would Lin Yi have any face left in the future? Plus, his relationship with Meng Yao would definitely be broken," Pinliang said. Xiaofu nodded. "Brilliant move, Liang bro. Lin Yi won't be able to defend himself then, and his reputation will be ruined. But Meng Yao wouldn't just go along with it, would she? Impossible. Yushu is more likely, but Meng Yao is definitely out of the question. Plus, we'll be watching from the side, and when we call for help, we'll see if they'll still be able to carry on," Pinliang said with a laugh. "Then you'll take a bunch of pictures, and we'll send them to the media to hype things up a bit. Even if we can't do anything to Lin Yi, we'll still be able to discuss him. Awesome." Xiaofu gave a thumbs up, but then frowned. That Lin Yi's a practitioner. Normal drugs won't do anything to him, right? Chapter 1588. Target equals _ blank. Ichuen Novels Chapter 1587. A happy Zhaoqibing, you're right, Liang bro. You're so thoughtful. Xiaofu said. This is a good opportunity for us to vent our anger. The letter was sent back to Naipeo, and as a matter of fact, the everyday sect did have this kind of medicine. specifically for those evil arts. But with Naipeo's identity as the first disciple of the sect, it was easy for him to get some. Naipeo's reply explained how to use it, especially the fact that this medicine was colorless, tasteless, and fragrant. Any practitioner under Earth class wouldn't be able to sense anything when taking it, not even a mystic late-phase peak. Of course, there were more potent medicines, but Naipeo didn't provide any. This medicine was more than enough to deal with Lin Yi, and it would be a waste if it was too strong. 7 by 7 asterisk, of course. Now that we're not strong enough, it's a battle of wits. Pin Liang said, we need to use our wits to deal with Lin Yi. But Liang bro, there's something I don't understand. You're not chasing Meng Yao anymore, so why are you still sponsoring a class activity? Xiaofu didn't understand. Isn't it a bit of a loss for us to do this? Idiot, if we don't sponsor and take the initiative, how are we going to drug Lin Yi? Pin Liang said, plus I'm going to organize a special activity and I'll be able to get close to Meng Yao then. I know that I can't get her yet, but it'll be nice to get close to her, hee hee. Oh, Liang bro, you're wise. Xiaofu said, Holy Temple Plus. It's just an activity, how much can it cost? Pin Liang said casually. House Chu's villa, Meng Yao was packing up. She was going to dress more maturely for the class reunion this time, now that she had said goodbye to high school. She was half a step into university. It felt good to be mature once in a while. Yushu, on the other hand, couldn't wear cute outfits because she wanted to match Meng Yao. She rummaged through her wardrobe for a while, but couldn't find any mature outfits. She couldn't fit Meng Yao's outfits either, so she grumbled. I'll go home and find some outfits, Yao Yao. Can you come with me? It's just a walkway. Why would I need to accompany you? Meng Yao ignored her. Then I'll ask Shield Bro to accompany me. Yushu said. Go then. Meng Yao said. Lin Yi was getting ready to go with Qin Tian to Uncle Zhu. Lin Yi wasn't in Songshan before, so he didn't want Qin Tian to do anything on his own. Now that Lin Yi was back, he had to get his revenge. Lin Yi had planned to break through to Earth class before going, but it seemed like that wasn't going to happen anytime soon. But with Lin Yi's current strength, stepping on Uncle Zhu would be child's play. Even Wu Qintian would be a piece of cake. Just as Lin Yi was about to leave, he saw Shu running down the stairs. She said to Lin Yi, Shield Bro, I'm going home to get my clothes. Are you coming with me? Shu's house is very beautiful. Do you want to spend some quality time with just the two of you? Lin Yi didn't know whether to laugh or cry. You go yourself. It's not like I haven't been there before. I'm going with Qin Tian to get my revenge on that Uncle Zhu. Jiao, all right then. Shu didn't force him when she heard that he was going to get down to business. The three left the villa together. Yushu drove her own beetle, and Lin Yi drove Xiao's Land Rover. Now that the fake Lin Yi was brought to justice, the truth was out, and Lin Yi could drive the car as he pleased. Lin Yi shook his head as he watched Shu leave in a hurry. Was she moving? Driving a car, but it seemed like Shu really did want to move. Ever since Lin Yi came to Meng Yao's villa, Shu almost never went back to her own villa. Boss, I'm a little nervous and excited right now. That Zhu guy didn't level up, did he? Qin Tian was naturally nervous before he stepped on Uncle Zhu. He leveled up, but didn't you level up as well? Lin Yi smiled. Where's that arrogance from before? That's right, no matter how strong he is, he's not Lin Yi the boss. I can recover if I'm injured, but if he's injured, I'm screwed. Qin Tian regained his confidence. In the floating cloud bar, Psihua, Yao Wang, and Uncle Zhu were all in charge. Su Jiaonong, on the other hand, was in charge of the general affairs. Ever since Qibing had taken the foundational pill, he'd been busy practicing and didn't have the time to care about the bar. The foundational pill was an extremely rare pill, and it could allow a normal person to quickly step onto the path of practicing. Plus, after the foundational pill changed one's body, it would be easier for them to practice than normal practitioners. But because of the limitations of the foundational pill, the path before Mystic class was very smooth. But if one wanted to break through to Earth class, the foundational pill's effect wouldn't be as obvious. One would need a super foundational pill, which was the bone and marrow cleansing pill, to completely change a person's body. However, the bone and marrow cleansing pill was in existence from ancient times, and the recipe had been lost, not to mention someone who could make it. So, after Qibing stepped into Mystic class, he had to use a special method to practice. Otherwise, his progress wouldn't be as fast as it was now. With the help of the foundational pill and the pure chant, Qibing actually became an early phase golden class spiritual practitioner. Although he was still far from Uncle Zhu and the others, his training speed was already very fast. Today was Qibing's breakthrough day, and this made him very happy. After practicing, he laughed like an idiot for a while. Ha 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 ha, with my speed, I'll definitely be the head of House Xiao if I keep practicing. Lin Yi, you little bastard. You'll be under my feet sooner or later. Master Bing, there's bad news from the house. Just as Qibing was getting excited, Sihua rushed into the room and told him. What news? Qibing frowned, unhappy. I just broke through and you're telling me bad news? What news is more important than my breakthrough? Master Bing, the boss said that Zhao Qikuan has returned from the test. Sihua said carefully, Oh, returned from the test? Doesn't that mean he's eliminated? That's good news. What's bad news? Qibing paused. Chapter 1589. Target equals _blank. Search novels chapter 1588. Mysterious someone causing trouble. And Zhao Qikuan, I don't know what kind of bullshit luck he had, but he didn't stay in the Ice Palace. Instead, he asked for a treasure exchange right and returned to House Xiao. What? He passed? He didn't stay there to train? Qibing's eyes were wide open, not understanding. Website. Master Bing, this Zhao Qikuan is probably worried that you'll take the position of head of house first if he stays in the Ice Palace to train. Sihua said, You have to be on your guard. This guy has always been ambitious, but you didn't have the strength to back then, so we didn't care. But now you're the true heir. Fuck. Qibing was pissed after understanding what Qikuan meant. So you're saying that Zhao Qijie will definitely become an Earth class? You can say that in the Ice Palace, as long as you work hard, breaking through to Earth class shouldn't be a problem. Uncle Zhu finished his training as well. Then what do you guys think? What should I do? If I work hard, catching up to Zhao Qikuan won't be a problem, but Earth class, I'm afraid I won't be able to in a short period of time. Qibing said worriedly. Master Bing, you don't have to worry too much. After I ate the meridian opening pill, not only did my damaged meridians heal, my strength recovered as well. Plus, my damaged meridians have been nourished by the meridian opening pill, and they're much stronger than before. I'm already showing signs of breaking through, and I'll be a mystic early class peak soon. Uncle Zhu said. Plus, Master Bing, now that you're favored by Elder Bai, we'll have a lot of medicine. It won't be long before I break through to Earth class as well. Actually, us practitioners, other than the talented ones, are pretty much the same. The key is who has more medicine. That's good. Haha. Qibing said happily. Don't worry, you'll have a lot of medicine. Yes, no matter what, my big brother will stand on your side, Master Bing. He's an Earth class as well. He has a place in House Xiao. Uncle Zhu said. Website 7*, right? How could I forget? Boss Zhu is an Earth class master. So what if Qijie broke through to Earth class? Qibing nodded, relieved. However, just as he heaved a sigh of relief, he suddenly heard a loud bang coming from outside the bar. What's going on? Qibing jumped in fright. What's going on? Outside? As soon as Qibing finished speaking, Su Jiaonong ran in, panicking. Master Bing, Sihua bro, this is bad. Someone's here to destroy the bar. The door is broken. Bar entrance? Isn't it made of iron? Qibing paused. Internet 7 asterisk. It was early in the morning, and the iron door of the bar had not been opened yet. How could the iron door be broken? It's someone we don't know. He said that he's here to cause trouble. Tell Master Bing and Uncle Zhu to go out and get kicked. Su Jianong said carefully. Someone I don't know. Qibing frowned. How is he so strong? Could it be a cultivator? I don't know. What should we do, Master Bing? Su Jianong asked. Let's go, Uncle Zhu. Come with me. Who wants to die? How dare you come to my place and destroy my bar? Qibing had just broken through to the early phase of the golden class, and his blood was boiling. He couldn't find anyone to practice with. Now that someone had come knocking on his door, he naturally wouldn't let it go. Uncle Zhu had just recovered as well, and he was about to break through to the peak of the early phase of the mystic class. His hands were itching, and it was the best time to find someone to practice with. When the two reached the entrance, they saw Qin Tian standing in front of the bar with a big hole in it, pointing his finger at the bar arrogantly. Everyone inside, listen up. Get that old Zhu and that dumbass Zhao Qibing to come out and get beaten up, or I'll smash your bar apart. Qin Tian roared. I'll destroy your bar. At this moment, Wu Qintian's acting skills were on full display. Wu Qintian was very happy. Before, in front of Lin Yi, he couldn't act cool, and he didn't dare. But now, he finally had a use for it. Lin Yi was sitting in the car at the door. He didn't come out. Only when Wu Qintian couldn't do it himself would Lin Yi do it himself. This revenge was Wu Qintian's own, and it felt good to beat up Uncle Zhu himself. But when Lin Yi saw Uncle Zhu's strength, he didn't even think about getting off the car. Early phase of the mystic class. Although he didn't know how his meridians recovered and how he became early phase of the mystic class again, it wasn't important. Wu Qintian was a dual practitioner, and he could easily beat Uncle Zhu. Kid, so it's you. Uncle Zhu frowned. He didn't expect Wu Qintian to come for revenge. If it was Lin Yi who came for revenge himself, Uncle Zhu would believe it. But Wu Qintian, a golden class, dared to come here? Could it be that he didn't know that he was a mystic class again? Yes, that must be it. This kid thought that he was a golden class mid-phase. Wu Qintian, you've got guts, haven't you? Don't you know that this bar belongs to me, Zhao Qibing? Qibing naturally knew Wu Qintian. When Qibing's skyscraper was being built, he even invited him. It could be said that he had a good relationship with Qin Tian, but they weren't that close. I know. I wouldn't have smashed it if I didn't know. Qin Tian said faintly. He was now in the same step as Lin Yi, and he saw Gooden kill a master from Hidden House Pie with one punch. He wasn't as scared of the hidden houses as before. In his eyes, the hidden houses were nothing. In front of Lin Yi and Gooden, they were nothing but trash. You think you're strong? So what if you're strong? Lin Yi and Gooden were alive and well, and nothing had happened to them. Huh. Qibing laughed instead of getting angry. I think you're tired of living. Kneel down now and apologize to me and compensate me 100 million for the repair fees. Then I'll let you go. Otherwise, your common house will be removed from the list of noble houses. Qibing was now the heir of the hidden house Zhao. Naturally, his confidence was different. Plus, he'd learned Lin Yi's method, which was to scam people of their money. And so, Qibing decided to use this method to scam House Wu. Chapter 1590. Target equals _blank. E-Search Novels Chapter 1589. Mysterious the tragic Zhao Qibing besides, compared to wiping out House Wu. Extorting money from them was much more worth it. I say, Zhao Qibing, did you eat too much arsenic? Have you gone stupid? You're just a bastard. How can you represent the hidden house Zhao? Qin Tian mocked. Website Xihua, tell him who I am now. Ignorance is so scary, Qibing said faintly. Wu Qintian, you don't know yet, right? Master Bing is now a candidate for the young master of the hidden house Zhao, and he's the most likely candidate. Sihua said, "What? Aren't you going to beg for mercy now?" "What young master? Will you let me go if I beg for mercy? My boss is Lin Yi now, and you have a grudge with Lin Yi. Do you think I'm stupid? Just tell me if you're scared of death. Don't waste time with all these empty words." Qin Tian said with disdain. "What did you say?" Qibing was about to explode. He was speaking the truth, not empty words. He'd said those words to scare Qin Tian into handing over the money obediently, but Qin Tian had taken it as a coward. Naturally, he was pissed. "Uncle Zhu, cripple this kid and notify House Wu. Give us 200 million in exchange for him." "Yes." Uncle Zhu couldn't hold it in any longer, rubbing his palms together as he walked towards Qin Tian. Qibing wasn't an idiot. He knew that Qin Tian was already a golden class master, and his strength was stable. He didn't want to make a move rashly. He was going to wait until Uncle Zhu crippled Qin Tian first before getting his fill. When Uncle Zhu walked over, Qin Tian moved as well. He was sick of this and couldn't wait to make a move. Qin Tian didn't put on any airs and threw a punch at Uncle Zhu's chest. Uncle Zhu was now a mystic class master, and naturally he wasn't afraid of Qin Tian. He was about to block the punch when he realized that something was wrong. This Qin Tian was no longer a golden class master, but an early mystic class master. However, by the time he reacted, it was already too late. He could only brace himself and stretch out his hand to block. It was impossible for him to dodge. But Uncle Zhu comforted himself. Qin Tian was just an early mystic class master, and he was already a mystic class master. He wouldn't be at a disadvantage. But in the next moment, he realized that he was wrong, very wrong. But it was too late. Website Uncle Zhu spat out a mouthful of blood and was sent flying, crashing into the wall. His sternum caved in, and his eyes rolled back. Who was Qin Tian? As the successor of the iron hand technique, his hand techniques were quite powerful. Even if it was an expert of the same level, they wouldn't dare to take it head-on, but Uncle Zhu did. Plus, Qin Tian was a dual cultivator, one level higher than other masters of the same level. Wouldn't he be able to cripple Uncle Zhu on the spot? Internal and external cultivation. Blood frothed out of Uncle Zhu's mouth as he struggled to utter these words, but before he could finish, Qin Tian walked over and stepped on all four of his limbs. This was a skill he learned from Gooden, and he thought that it was awesome. Finally, he could use it himself. With the help of Qin Tian's physical strength and spiritual qi, Uncle Zhu's arms and legs were broken, and the meridians in his arms and legs were crushed by Qin Tian's pure qi. And so, Uncle Zhu's newly recovered meridians were crippled again, and this time it was even worse than before. After 4 screams, Uncle Zhu was about to threaten Qin Tian, saying that his big brother wouldn't let him go, but Qin Tian stepped on his mouth again, breaking all of his teeth. The pain made his eyes roll back and he fainted. "Website you! Don't come over." Qibing was finally scared. Qin Tian was too strong, wasn't he? Why were all of Lin Yi's followers so strong? Gooden was like that, but this Qin Tian was so strong. "I'm sorry, but Boss Lin said that you're too much of a nuisance. He didn't come looking for trouble with you, but you came looking for trouble with him. He had no choice but to send me to break your legs." Qin Tian said, "Don't. I didn't do anything." Qibing felt wronged. He may have become the heir of the hidden house, but he only dared to curse Lin Yi behind his back. He didn't dare to mess with Lin Yi. "That Zhao Fafa, weren't you the one who sent him to mess with Tang Yan's wife?" Qin Tian said as he walked towards Qibing. I didn't know." Qibing was about to cry, cursing in his heart. "Zhao Fafa, you bastard, you're killing me." "Kacha." Qibing was an early phase golden class master. How could he be Qin Tian's opponent? He couldn't even resist, and both his legs were broken by Qin Tian. But Qin Tian was very considerate. He didn't destroy the meridians in Qibing's legs, only breaking them. Lin Yi had told him not to cause too much damage to Qibing, so that the hidden house wouldn't retaliate. As for Qibing, even if he didn't do anything to him now, he'd be a cripple sooner or later. Qin didn't quite understand Lin Yi's words, but he followed Lin Yi's instructions. All of this happened in the blink of an eye, and with that, Qin walked out of Floating Clouds Bar and got into Lin Yi's car. Lin Yi started the engine, and the two of them left the bar. Haha, this is great! Boss Lin Yi, this is the first time I felt so good. So, even noble houses can step on hidden houses. Qin was dancing in excitement. If you have the ambition, even if you come from a humble background, you can still be on the same level as the ancient sects. Lin Yi said faintly, no one is born a master, and not all the ancestors of the ancient sects have good conditions for training. Boss, I understand, I'll work hard. Qin felt that his vision had broadened a lot. Before, he was too limited. He only saw the power struggle of noble houses, and thought that getting a place in the noble house was the ultimate goal of his life. But after following Lin Yi, he realized that hidden houses weren't that mysterious after all. If he wanted to step on them, he'd step on them all the same, and he'd step on two of them at once. Hidden House Zhao and House Pai. And Lin Yi was about to go against House Yu again. Would the hidden house you make a move then? Qin blood was boiling at the thought. The inside of the Floating Cloud Bar was naturally in a state of chaos at this moment. Chapter 1591. Target equals _ blank. Ichua Xiaounkelzhu, on the other hand, was gasping for air, his mouth full of blood froth. It seemed like he wouldn't be able to make it if they didn't save him now. Yao Wang was about to check on Qibing's leg when Qibing stopped him. Let's go check on Uncle Zhu first. My leg is fine, it's just a broken bone. It didn't hurt my meridians. After becoming a practitioner, Qibing had become more familiar with his own body and could recognize his injuries. So he didn't want to be a hindrance right now. He might as well let Yao Wang treat Uncle Zhu first. Of course, Uncle Zhu was probably going to be crippled again this time. What Qibing wanted was Boss Zhu's heart. He needed Boss Zhu's help for his revenge. His master, Elder Bai, couldn't get involved in the conflicts of the common world, so he had to rely on Boss Zhu. Boss Zhu was from a hidden house, but he had just broken through to Earth class and hadn't registered with the Noble House Council yet. No one knew about it, so he was the best choice. Yao Wang took a look at Qibing's injury and knew that it wasn't serious. He nodded and went to check on Uncle Zhu. He didn't even dare to do anything when Qin attacked. He was a mystic, but he couldn't fight. It was better for him to hide at the side. Who was going to treat Uncle Zhu if he was injured? Call Boss Zhu quick. Uncle Zhu is injured. We have to inform him, Qibing said to Zihua. Yes. Zihua nodded at Master Bing's words. He quickly called Boss Zhu for help. At the side of a dilapidated residential alley, an old man handed a small box to a girl. This is the medicine you've taken this time. Swallow it quickly. The young girl silently took the small box and opened it. Inside was an exquisite medicine bottle. The young girl opened the bottle and swallowed the medicine inside. Just as she was about to say something, her phone rang. The old man took out his phone and looked at the caller ID. He turned to the girl. I have some urgent matters to attend to, so I'll leave first. You can go back by yourself. With that, the old man hurried out of the alley and found a quiet place to pick up the phone. Boss Zhu, it's me, Li Zihua. Do you remember me? Zihua said quickly after the call connected. I know. You're Master Bing's man. What's wrong? Something must have happened. Call me? Boss Zhu was panicking as well. He was now in Earth class, and he was afraid that the hidden Noble House Council would target him. He tried his best to avoid contact with Qibing and the others, in case he was discovered. So, for someone close to Zhao Qibing to call him, it must be something very urgent. He was originally scavenging with Qin Shi, but because he was afraid that Chen Shi would find out, he quickly found a place with no one around and picked up the phone. Boss Zhu, this is bad. Uncle Zhu has been heavily injured and is on the verge of death. Yao Wang is trying to think of a solution, and Master Bing's legs are broken as well. But Yao Wang's treating Uncle Zhu first. He hasn't gone to Master Bing yet. Sihua knew that Qi Bing's injuries weren't serious, but he wanted to show how much Qi Bing cared for his subordinates. As expected, as angry as Boss Zhu was, he was very touched by Qi Bing's actions. Master Bing is a good master. Sihua, wait for me, I'll be right there. All right, we'll wait for you, Sihua said. Uncle Zhu finished the call and turned to look for Qin Shi. He had to give her some instructions. Qin Shi, Grandpa Zhu has something important to do. I'll be away for a few days. During this time, you can scavenge on your own. However, don't forget the mental cultivation method that I'm going to teach you. Don't tell anyone about it. Don't worry, Grandpa Zhu. If you have something to do, you can go do it. Chen, she said obediently. And take the elixirs I gave you regularly as well, Boss Zhu said and quickly left. He was burning with impatience. Uncle Zhu was his blood brother, and now that he was injured, he wanted to run over as fast as he could. When Boss Zhu saw Uncle Zhu lying on the bed with all his meridians broken, he was filled with grief and anger. Originally, Uncle Zhu's future was bright after he took the meridian-clearing pill. If Lin Yun gave him some pointers, it wouldn't be hard for him to break through to Earth class. But now, Uncle Zhu had become a cripple. He didn't even know if he could survive, let alone cultivate. The most tragic thing was that he had eaten the meridian-clearing pill for nothing. What? This old man is going to find him for revenge now. Boss Zhu, please calm down. Qi Bing jumped in fright when he heard that Boss Zhu was going to take revenge now. If Boss Zhu went now, he'd be able to kill Qing Tian, but he'd also attract the attention of the Noble House Council. It'd be impossible for him to deal with Lin Yi then, and so he'd go after Lin Yi. Qing Tian was just a small character, one of Lin Yi's underlings. Qi Bing only hated Lin Yi. He didn't have the heart to care about a small character like that. Furthermore, the most important thing right now was that his grandfather was currently in seclusion. This could be said to be a matter of life and death for the Zhao family, and they couldn't afford to make any mistakes. If they were to be targeted by the aristocratic Family Arbitration Association at this time, it would definitely not be a good thing. Furthermore, the matter of the Qi-gathering pills could be exposed. Plus, Qi Kuan was back, eyeing the position of the young head of House Zhao like a tiger eyeing its prey. If he caused any trouble here, Qi Kuan wouldn't let it go so easily. Even Elder Bai wouldn't be able to handle it then. Ever since Qi Bing became Elder Bai's disciple, he'd been thinking a lot more than before. Before, Qi Bing didn't have much ambition. He thought that he was just an illegitimate child, and that he'd be lucky if he could make a name for himself and gain the recognition of House Zhao. But now, Elder Bai had given him hope. He could reach the sky in one step and become the young head of the hidden House Zhao. Naturally, Qi Bing wouldn't be as reckless as before. Chapter 1592. Target equals _ blank. E-search novels, Boss Zhu. You know the situation in the house right now. Grandpa's in isolated practice, and he and Master specifically told us that no matter what happens, we have to bear with it and wait for him to come out of isolation, Qi Bing said. And that Zhao Qikuan is back as well. If we make any sudden moves and he catches us, we'll be in trouble. I see. Boss Zhu was a loyal follower of the hidden House Zhao's. After hearing Elder Bai and Master Zhao's orders, they naturally had to bear with it. But Boss Zhu was a little confused. Then, Master Bing, why did you call me here? Revenge is a given, but not now. Qi Bing gritted his teeth. That Lin Yi brat, I'll kill him sooner or later. But right now, the most important thing is to find a way to heal Uncle Zhu and let him recover as soon as possible. Even if he can't practice, he needs to stay alive. He's my follower, even if he's a cripple. Qibing will take care of him. Master Bing, you're truly a wise and kind master. My Zhu brothers, what did we do to deserve Master Bing's favor? Don't worry, Master Bing. Boss Zhu, won't disappoint you. Boss Zhu was touched, although he felt that Master Bing was putting on an act. Since it didn't cost much to take care of a cripple, this friendship was very touching. Secondly, we can't make a move in the open, but we can plan and see if we can do it in the dark. We have to ask my master about this, Qibing said. Boss Zhu, you're a trump card. We can't just use you. Right now, only Grandpa and Master know that you've broken through to Earth class. Qikuin and the others probably don't know yet, so you'll be my trump card for the head of house. We can't reveal ourselves too early. I understand. Elder Zhu quickly nodded his head and replied, I called you here to advise you not to be too impulsive. We need to be careful, Qibing said. Before Grandpa comes out of isolation, we need to stay calm. Don't worry, Master Bing. I won't be rash. I'll look at the big picture. I won't do anything rash. Boss Zhu said. That's good, Qibing said. I've already sent a message to Master. I reckon that Master will soon find out about this. When Qibing messaged House Zhao, he heard that Elder Bai was visiting Elder Zhao. Naturally, he didn't have time to pick up the phone. He'd contact Qibing after the visit was over. While they were talking, Elder Bai's call came in. Qibing, why are you looking for me? Elder Bai, on the other hand, quickly returned Elder Zhao's call upon hearing that Qibing was looking for him. Master, something big happened here, Qibing said, explaining everything to Elder Bai, including his analysis of Boss Zhu. Surprise attack. You did the right thing. Elder Bai praised. To achieve great things, one needs to be able to endure for a moment. Sometimes compromising doesn't mean admitting defeat, but rather wisdom. Yes, your disciple will remember your words, Master. Before Grandpa comes out of isolation, we must keep a low profile, Qibing said. What should we do now? Regarding Boss Zhu, I'll think of something, but with his injuries like this, I'm afraid I can't do anything. Let's just wait and see. I can't say that I can cure him, but keeping him alive should be no problem. Ask Boss Zhu to send him to me, Elder Bai said. As for dealing with Lin Yi, there's no need to rush. We'll talk about that after your grandpa comes out of isolation. The old head broke through to Sky Class, and he has some say in the Noble House Council. He can even become one of the elders there. As far as I know, the aristocratic Family Arbitration Council isn't completely united. After that person left, the elders of the aristocratic Family Arbitration Council have been occupied by the heaven rank experts of the various hidden families. At first, everyone was wholeheartedly working for the common good, but now without news of that person, who would still follow the rules from back then. As far as I know, some people are already eager to change the rules of the Arbitration Association. Oh, so you're saying that there won't be any restrictions on the hidden house's appearance in the common world? Qibing quickly asked. I can't say that there won't be any restrictions, but it's still possible to turn a blind eye, Elder Bai said. Of course, I've only heard a general idea. I don't have a definite conclusion yet. Although the council isn't as united as it used to be, there are still people who are against it. So that's how it is. Then I won't be in a hurry, Qibing nodded. Also, Qi Kuin is back. You need to be careful as well. I'll help you heal your leg, but the gap between you and Qi Kuin is too big. Other than your contributions to House Zhao, you don't have much of an advantage over Qi Kuin. You can't slack off on your training. Elder Bai said, Don't worry, Master. I'll work hard. Qibing wasn't joking. He really did mean it. For the head of house position, he decided to give it his all. At first, Lin Yi thought that the hidden house Zhao would do something. At the very least, they'd send an Earth class to cause trouble. But after waiting for 2 days, nothing happened. This disappointed Lin Yi. To tell the truth, Lin Yi was willing to do anything for the sake of breaking through. Lin even wanted to fight in Earth class to motivate himself to break through. The Lin E now was different from the Lin E in the tomb. Back then, Lin E was only mystic mid-class peak. Now Lin E was mystic late class. He was only 2 steps away from Earth class. After all, if he gave it his all, there was a chance that he'd be able to make it. Moreover, this was exactly what he was looking for. But the hidden house Zhao was like a tortoise, not making a sound at all. This made Lin E very depressed. In the blink of an eye, it was the day of the class reunion. Lin E waited for the masters from House Zhao, but they didn't show up. He could only go to the resort with Meng Yao and Yushu. The resort was located in a small town near Songshan. The scenery here was not bad, but most of it was man-made. But to these students, it didn't matter. They were here to eat, drink, and play, not to see the scenery. Chapter 1593. Target equals _blank. E-Search Novels Chapter 1592. Love sponsored by Zhong Pingyang, of course. There were also those who had vague feelings for each other back in high school. Due to the stress of the exams, they didn't have the chance to make things clear. Now that they'd graduated, they had plenty of time and wanted to use this opportunity to get closer to their sweetheart. When Lin Yi's Land Rover stopped at the resort's parking lot, there were already quite a few luxury cars parked there. Lin Yi hadn't realized that there were quite a few rich people in his class, but it made sense. Songshan's first school was a private school, but it was also a school for the rich. Other than Tang Yin, who had exceptional grades, the rest of the students were from decent families. Lin Yi had just parked his car when a Mercedes-Benz SUV stopped next to Lin Yi's car, giving Lin Yi a fright. But when he saw the driver, he smiled faintly. "Kong Xiaobo, you bought a car too?" Lin Yi smiled as he looked at the temporary license plate on the car. The car hadn't been officially registered yet, so it was obvious that it had just been picked up. "Ah, boss, you don't care about me at all," Kong Xiaobo said bitterly as he jumped off the car. "I called your house a few times recently, but that Wu Qingtian guy said you were working hard on your cultivation. I didn't dare disturb you. I thought you got a new follower and didn't want me anymore." "Ah," Lin Yi smiled. "I was a bit busy. That's why I didn't contact you guys. But you're follower number 1, and Qingtian is at most follower number 3 or 4. He'll have to be more polite when talking to you. He's quite eye-catching. I'm not a practitioner, but he's very respectful to me." Kong Xiaobo nodded. "This car was just picked up. Fatty Lai told me to get one a long time ago. He said that I'm the vice chairman of the company, but I don't even have a car. It's a bit too shabby to go out and meet customers. But I was afraid that it would be too high profile, so I only bought it after the college entrance exam." Even though Fatty Lai was the general manager of the medical company and Kong Xiaobo was the vice president, he didn't have any objections when Kong Xiaobo called him Fatty Lai. After all, he was Lin Yi's underling, and in terms of seniority, he was still Kong Xiaobo's underling. "How's the company doing?" Lin Yi hadn't studied the company for a long time. There had been too many things going on recently, so he hadn't asked about it. "The painkiller is already on the market, and the response is very good. There's no problem with the sales volume. It's just that the production line needs to be expanded again." Kong Xiaobo smiled bitterly. "Boss, the company's finances are suddenly a lot tighter after you transferred 100 million yuan away." Lin Yi remembered that the 100 million he'd spent on the Ice Palace test was from Fatty Lai. It seemed that he'd have to find a way for Fatty Lai and Xiaobo to earn some money. It seemed that they were in a bit of a tight spot right now. "Yeah, when I'm free, I'll think of a way to get some money." Lin Yi was thinking, should House Yu or House Zhao fork out this money? Or should he extort a bit from each? These two families weren't stable, so they better not mess with him. What a miscalculation. When Ice Palace left Xiao Xiao behind, wouldn't it have been better if Lin Yi had asked for the deposit back? Ice Palace wouldn't have refused to give him the deposit. Who knew? They might even give him an extra reward. There's no need to rush. The most we're doing now is breaking even. It'll get better slowly, Kong Xiaobo said. Kong Xiaobo and Lin Yi parked their car, and the resort's security came over to help them put up reflective cones to prevent other cars from hitting them. Welcome to Tiandi Resort. The security said politely. Tiandi Resort? Lin Yi paused. He'd only mentioned the resort's name during the class reunion, and since there was a resort in town, he'd forgotten about the resort's name. Now it seemed that Zhou Tiandi owned it. Your boss is Zhou Tiandi? Lin Yi looked at the security and asked casually, Yes, sir. May I ask if you know our boss? The security didn't dare delay. He saw that Lin Yi and Kong Xiaobo were both driving luxury cars here. They might actually know the boss. Oh, I do. Lin Yi nodded. Sir, should we contact the boss? The security asked politely. No need. Lin Yi waved his hand casually. He was only here for a class reunion, and there wasn't anything to do with Zhou Tiandi. Okay. The security didn't say anything else. After locking the car, Lin Yi, Kong Xiaobo, and the others walked to the resort's lobby. There were already some students inside, and when they saw Kong Xiaobo, they surrounded him warmly. They were both men and women. Lin Yi was the boss behind Miracle Dr. Guan's medical company, and only a few people close to him knew about it. However, the fact that Kong Xiaobo was the vice president of Miracle Dr. Guan's medical company was known by everyone in class. After all, Kong Xiaobo had been attending the new product announcements recently, and he'd been interviewed many times by the media. Kong Xiaobo's fame had increased by several folds. Regarding this unknown person who suddenly rose from an unknown person to a general manager, some of the smarter girls couldn't help but beat their chest and stomp their feet. How could they have been so wrong before? Didn't they see Kong Xiaobo's potential? But after asking around, they found out that Kong Xiaobo already had a girlfriend. These people regretted not taking advantage of this opportunity. But now the students who didn't get into university started thinking. If they could build a good relationship with Kong Xiaobo, it wouldn't be a problem for them to get a position in the medical company, at least for the sake of their old classmate. They didn't need to be in charge of a department or manager. Normal staff would do. After all, Miracle Dr. Guan's medical company was a company with a very good future. Being able to work in it was already very good. Lin Yi patted Kong Xiaobo's shoulder and led Meng Yao and Yu Shu to the sofa in the corner. He wasn't very familiar with his classmates, and in this kind of situation they were all looking for Kong Xiaobo, so he was even more quiet. A while later, Pin Liang and Xiaofu arrived as well. The two of them were naturally the targets of flattery from the other students. Pin Liang's family had quite a few businesses, and the students who'd lost their jobs after graduation wanted to make a living from Pin Liang's company. Liang Bro and the class monitor discussed and decided to organize this event together. Originally, the class monitor said that everyone's expenses would be split, and if it wasn't enough, we'd have to use the rest of the class fees as a supplement. But Liang Bro said that he'll be paying for this event. Everyone, eat and drink to your heart's content. Gao Xiaofu saw that almost everyone had arrived, so he announced to everyone, Chapter 1594. Chapter 1593. Zhongpingyang's toast, that's great. Everyone cheered when they heard that someone was treating them. Although most of the students were from wealthy families, they were happy to be able to save a few hundred RMB in one go. 7*. Liang Bro has prepared a sumptuous feast for everyone tonight. Let's go to the dining hall. Xiaofu said. It was almost dinner time, and everyone was hungry. After hearing Xiaofu's words, everyone stood up happily and walked towards the dining hall. Lin Yi frowned. He was curious about Zhong Pingliang's behavior. This guy had been quiet for a while. Why was he so active again? Besides, he had no hope of pursuing Mengyao anymore. He knew that. Why was he spending money to treat them? Did he have too much money and nowhere to spend it? It seemed like Zhong Pingliang's family was rich. Lin Yi was worried about the lack of funds. Since this guy was so rich, he would have to go to his father, Zhong Fabai, to get some money. However, Xiaofu didn't mention Mengyao when he was talking, and he didn't even look at Lin Yi. This made Lin even more confused. Could it be that they only wanted to treat them and nothing else? Lin Yi, Mengyao, and Yushu stood up as well. Although they didn't like Zhong Pingliang, they still had to eat. Mengyao was sitting in the corner earlier, and no one dared to approach her. But now that she was walking towards the dining hall, many girls who didn't get into university went up to her. It couldn't be helped. Sometimes reality was just like that. If Mengyao could help them get a job in one of Pingzhan Industries' subsidiary companies, that would be the best thing that could happen to them. In their eyes, going to university was just for a good job. If they could get into Pingzhan Industries through Mengyao's connections, it would be like reaching the heavens in one step. The miss may have a cold personality, but Lin Yi knew that she was the type of person who was cold on the outside but warm on the inside. They had been classmates for a long time, after all. No matter how good their relationship was, Mengyao still cared about their friendship. Mengyao took out her phone and recorded down the names and phone numbers of those who came to her. She was going to send them to Faubert when the time came, so that Faubert could give them a chance to try. As for whether or not they could do their jobs well, that would depend on themselves. Mengyao wasn't a philanthropist, and this was all she could do to help them. It was the same for Kong Xiaobo. Most of them agreed to give them a chance, but if they couldn't pass the internship, there was nothing they could do. On the web LVS. Even so, everyone was already very happy. One had to know that if one wanted to work in such a big group, they either had a good diploma or a good work experience. It was already very difficult for these high school graduates who didn't have either to get a chance. There were more than 30 people at this reunion, and they were divided into 2 tables. The banquet was quite sumptuous, and Pin Liang didn't lack money. He ordered all kinds of delicacies. They were all classmates, so they didn't need to be reserved. After Pin Liang raised his glass and said, "Everyone, don't be shy. Eat and drink to your heart's content." After that, he didn't say anything else. Everyone started to move and toasted each other. The college entrance exam was over, and it didn't matter if they got into college or not. They were all very happy. Needless to say, those who got into college and those who didn't get into college got a job from Kong Xiaobo, Mengyao, and Pin Liang. As far as they were concerned, even if one job wasn't good enough, they could always ask for help from others. There were 3 jobs, and there would always be one that suited them. So, these students who were worried about their future were even more excited now. "Shield bro, this crab is delicious. Try it." Yushu gave a crab to Lin Yi. "Shield bro, this beef is delicious. Try it." Yushu gave a piece of beef to Lin Yi. "Shield bro, this pastry is delicious. Try it." Yushu gave a piece of beef to Lin Yi. And so, the food on Lin Yi's plate became a small mountain in a short while. No one was envious of Lin Yi's luck with women. On one hand, Yushu was someone they couldn't reach, and on the other hand, Yushu's strong brother wasn't someone they could handle. Some people speculated that Yushu's brother would come and beat up Lin Yi if he knew that her sister had a boyfriend. What they didn't know was that Chen Yutian was burning incense in the hospital every day, praying for his sister to marry Lin Yi. If that happened, House Chen would be rich. "Lin Yi, let me give you a toast." Suddenly, after 3 rounds of drinking, Pin Liang stood up with his glass and said to Lin Yi. The noisy banquet immediately quieted down, and everyone looked at Pin Liang strangely. Everyone knew that Pin Liang and Lin Yi didn't get along. Ever since Lin Yi transferred schools, the two had a deep conflict. Although Lin Yi won over Pin Liang later, Pin Liang was still angry. So, Pinliang's toast was a little strange. Lin Yi looked at Pinliang suspiciously as well, not knowing what he was up to. Xiaofu, pour a glass for Lin Yi. Pinliang didn't care about everyone's gazes and ordered Xiaofu. Yes. Xiaofu picked up a bottle of wine and opened it himself, raising it respectfully in front of Lin Yi. Lin Yi frowned slightly, but he couldn't reject it in front of everyone. They were classmates after all, and if he didn't accept it now, everyone would think that Lin Yi was a narrow-minded person. Although Lin Yi didn't care, he didn't want to ruin everyone's mood. Lin Yi smiled and raised his glass, letting Xiaofu pour for him. He smiled faintly. Pinliang, why are you giving me a toast all of a sudden? Lin Yi, we had some conflicts before, but now that we've graduated, we're classmates. Let's forget about it. Pinliang said sincerely, we'll be good classmates from now on, and it'll be hard for us to meet again after graduation. The conflicts in the past don't mean anything anymore. It's all in this glass of wine. Oh, Lin Yi looked at Pinliang's sincere face, and his suspicions grew even stronger. He didn't believe that Pinliang was being so nice. Lin Yi had just fought with Zhang Naipeo, and he could see how much Pinliang hated Lin Yi just by looking at Naipeo. How could it be resolved just like that? Could it be that because Zhang Naipeo was crippled, Pinliang felt that he couldn't do anything to Lin Yi anymore, so he compromised? But it didn't seem like it. Target equals _blank. Chapter 1595. Everyone drinks from Lin Yi's perspective. Pinliang used to be a brainless student, but he disappeared for a while until Zhang Naipeo showed up. Lin Yi realized that Pinliang had been hiding this whole time. This guy wasn't like what he looked like on the surface. He'd actually sent Zhang Naipeo up the mountain to learn martial arts, and that meant that he was determined to deal with Lin Yi. So it was a joke to say that he'd defused the situation now. When Xiaofu was pouring the wine, the jade on Lin Yi's chest sent out a weak warning signal. This made Lin Yi feel that there was a trap here. But this weak signal also indicated that there would be some danger, but it wouldn't be too big. Otherwise, the jade's warning wouldn't be so weak. Lin Yi raised the glass and sniffed. A strong smell of alcohol assaulted his nostrils. The alcohol content of this wine was definitely much higher than the white wine they'd been drinking. Lin Yi looked at the bottle in Xiaofu's hand again. It was no different from the wine they'd been drinking. Lin Yi understood immediately. Pinliang might really be at his wit's end, so he decided to use a friendly method to trip Lin Yi up, trying to get him drunk with a high alcohol content white wine. His goal was clear as well. He wanted Lin Yi to make a fool of himself. As for whether or not there was something wrong with the wine, Lin Yi hadn't considered it. With Lin Yi's medical skills, there was nothing special about the wine other than the high alcohol content. It was Pinliang's idea to change the alcohol in the bottle to something with a high alcohol content. Zhang Naipeo had said that the medicine was colorless, odorless, and odorless. Masters under Earth class wouldn't be able to detect it, but Pinliang was still worried that Lin Yi would get suspicious, so he asked Xiaofu to change the low alcohol content white wine to a high alcohol content white wine. As far as Pinliang was concerned, Lin Yi wasn't an idiot if he toasted him for no reason. Lin Yi would definitely be suspicious and even refuse. But if he did something to the wine and made Lin Yi think that he was trying to set him up, then Lin Yi might actually believe him. One had to admit that Pinliang's intelligence was on a whole different level compared to before. He had the ability to think in reverse. Saint Hall 7*. And so Pinliang really did get what he wanted. It wasn't that Lin Yi was careless, but the medicine was provided by an ancient sect. No matter how good Lin Yi was, his medical skills were only at the top of the common world. In the common world, he could still be called a miracle doctor, but in the hidden world, even someone like Yao Wang could compete with Lin Yi. And so, Lin he didn't notice anything else in the wine. He raised his glass and said, "If that's the case, then I'll drink this. Saint Hall." "Great." Pin Liang laughed and raised his glass as well, drinking it in front of Lin Yi. "I say, Pin Liang, I saw that the wine in your glass was half a glass, wasn't it? That's not nice, is it?" "Lin," he said, faintly not drinking the wine. "Ah." Pin Liang paused. He really didn't notice whether his glass was half or full. Then, "I'll drink another?" He was in a hurry to get Lin Yi to drink the drugged wine, so he was in a hurry. He would rather drink another glass himself. In fact, his glass was full before, and Lin Yi was just teasing him. Lin Yi couldn't drink such a high alcohol content wine himself and let Pin Liang take advantage of it, could he? Lin Yi was never one to let others take advantage of him. So Lin Yi planned to let Pin Liang have a taste of high alcohol content wine. If they were to get drunk, they'd get drunk together. Besides, Lin Yi wouldn't get drunk at all. This level of alcohol content was worlds apart from old Lin's wine. "All right, Fu, fill it up for Pin Liang. I can tell that Pin Liang is a straightforward person." Lin Yi said, "Eh." Xiaofu was holding the drugged wine in his hand. He was waiting for Lin Yi to finish before pouring another glass for Lin Yi. Who would have thought that Lin Yi would ask him to pour for Pin Liang? Pin Liang, on the other hand, was stunned. What should he do? He couldn't ask Xiaofu to change the bar now, could he? That would be too obvious. Wouldn't it be the same as admitting that he had drugged Lin Yi's wine? Xiaofu held the bottle in his hand, unable to back down. Pin Liang gritted his teeth. There must be prostitutes in this resort. After he was done drinking, he'd just have to find a prostitute to take care of it. That wouldn't be a problem. At that thought, Pin Liang said, "Fu, what are you waiting for? Fill it up." "Okay." Xiaofu nodded and poured the wine for Pin Liang. Just when he thought that everything was fine, Lin Yi spoke up again. "Fu, we've had some conflicts in the past, right? Since this is the time, you should have a cup too. 1 cup of wine, and we'll forget about the grudge." "Huh." Xiaofu was helpless, but seeing that Pin Liang was pouring the wine, he had no reason to refuse. He had no choice but to pour himself another glass. It was impossible to change the bottle under the watchful eyes of the crowd. And so the three of them raised their glasses, and with a smile, they were all poisoned, fortunately. The effects of the drug had a time limit. When it didn't take effect, nothing happened. He was no different from a normal person. So, Pin Liang forced a smile and ate with everyone. To be honest, a glass of high alcohol content was nothing to someone like Pin Liang, whose family owned a nightclub. He started drinking in middle school, so he wouldn't get drunk so easily. Xiaofu, on the other hand, was his usual drinking partner, so he didn't get drunk either. But what they were worried about now was, what should they do about the poison? They had to find a way to vent it. They had a plan later. They had to watch Lin Yi flirt with Meng Yao and ruin Lin Yi's reputation. The banquet was over, and Pin Liang distributed the room cards to the students. "We've just finished eating, and everyone drank quite a bit. Go back to your rooms and rest. We'll gather at the resort's lobby at 9. I've booked the entertainment room, and we'll all go have some fun." Pin Liang said, "Fu and I can't hold our liquor, so we'll be going first." "No problem." The group took their room cards and went back to their rooms. Lin Yi's room card, however, was for a 3-person suite with Meng Yao and Yushu. What was Pin Liang trying to do by putting him with Meng Yao and Yushu? Lin Yi was a little surprised. It was normal for guys to share a room with guys and girls to share a room with girls. What was Pin Liang trying to do? But Pin Liang and Xiaofu were already far away. Target equals _blank. Chapter 1596. Chapter 1595. Bad idea, Lin. He didn't ask any questions and went back to his room with Mengyao and Yushu. They lived under the same roof back at home, after all, so it wouldn't be awkward to sleep in the same room. Liang bro, didn't we say we'd find a reason to send Yushu away? Why aren't you doing it? Xiaofu asked on the way back to his room. We don't have time, you idiot. We're both drugged, and it's about to act up. We need to get back to our rooms and find a lady to take care of it. Otherwise, we won't have time to catch Lin Yi in the act. Pin Liang said. Yeah, you're right. Xiaofu nodded. But Pao said that the drug's too strong, and even if Yushu's willing, Mingyao's definitely not. When Lin Yi and Xiaofu do it together, haha. Let's take a picture together, it'll be fun. That's right, Xiaofu's gotten smarter recently. Pin Liang nodded. On the way back to his room, Lin Yi felt that something wasn't right. His body was starting to heat up. With Lin Yi's medical skills, he could tell that this wasn't a sign of him drinking too much, but it was like he'd been drugged with some sort of aphrodisiac. A normal person wouldn't be able to make such a precise judgment. But Lin Yi didn't know how he'd been poisoned, but he knew the symptoms after being poisoned like the back of his hand. Not good. Lin Yi sighed inwardly. He'd been careless, and there had to be something in that glass of wine. The only thing Lin Yi could think of was that glass of wine, but Lin Yi had purposely checked the quality of the wine. There shouldn't be any drugs in it, and Lin Yi was worried that he'd let Pin Liang and Xiaofu drink a glass each. That was why Lin Yi had dared to drink it. He didn't think that these two would risk being poisoned just to let him drink it. What was their goal then? Looking at Mengyao and Yushu beside him, Lin Yi could roughly guess Pin Liang's plan. He probably wanted Mengyao or Yushu to have sex with him, so he could ruin his or Mengyao's reputation. This kind of trick seemed very ordinary, but if it was done properly, it could produce unexpected results. As for Shu, he was confident that she wouldn't react if he pushed her down, but the miss, it was hard to say. Pin Liang might have figured this out, and that was why he came up with this plan. If the miss resisted, Pin Liang could record the scene and announce that Lin Yi was a rapist. Even if Mengyao denied it, Lin Yi's reputation would be greatly affected. Pin Liang couldn't do anything to Lin Yi with Zhang Naipeo, and since there was nothing else he could do, it wasn't a bad idea to annoy Lin Yi. Most importantly, everyone was drunk, and he could deny that he was the one who did it, pushing all the blame away. What a smart guy! But Lin Yi was a medical expert, and he didn't mind the aphrodisiac. He could cure himself with acupuncture, but Pin Liang and Gao Xiaofu, how were they going to deal with it? Lin Yi suddenly thought of this problem, and a weird smile appeared on his face. He took out his phone and called Zhou Ruoming. Hayashi Lin, what can I do for you? Zhou Ruoming was sleeping at home when he heard his phone ringing. He didn't want to pick it up and was about to hang it up when he saw Lin Yi's name on the caller ID. It scared him awake, and he quickly picked up the phone. He was a little scared. If he had hung up the phone, he and the Zhou family would have been in trouble. Tiandi Resort is your family's property, right? Lin Yi asked. Templar Web, yes. What can I do for you, Hayashi Lin? Zhou Ruoming was startled. Could it be that the general manager of Tiandi Resort offended Lin Yi? Zhou Ruoming wanted to curse. What trouble? I can't even wait to serve Lin Yi. And you still want to cause trouble for me? Oh, it's nothing. Do you have prostitutes here? Lin Yi asked. Yes. Hayashi Lin needs them. Zhou Ruoming relaxed when he heard that no one offended Lin Yi. Thank goodness nothing happened. Oh, call the manager here. Tell him that there's no prostitutes tonight. Don't let them in, even if they call from outside. Lin Yi said to Zhou Ruoming. I mean, can you do it seriously? Don't worry, Hayashi Lin. I'll do it now. Although Zhou Ruoming didn't know what Lin Yi meant, he didn't need to know. He would do whatever Lin Yi asked him to do. As long as he made Lin Yi happy, everything would be fine. After hanging up the phone, Zhou Ruoming called the manager of the resort urgently and told him what Lin Yi meant. In the end, he threatened. I tell you, if you do it well, I will reward you. If you mess it up, I won't forgive you. It's not that simple. If anything happens to me, I will drag you to hell with me. The manager's heart almost dropped out of his chest when he heard Ruoming's words. He had the backing of House Zhou, and they were all gangsters. If that was the case, then he'd have to get this done. Ruoming didn't want to let House Zhou off the hook. Thus, the manager of the resort had his men gather all the prostitutes together and lock them in the conference room, afraid that they would take private jobs. Then he ordered all the security guards to close the door of the resort and not receive any guests. The purpose was to prevent a prostitute from sneaking in. Speaking of which, this reason was a little funny, but the resort's experience was carried out meticulously. It was a little confusing. Pin Liang and Xiaofu went back to their room and called the service desk, asking them to send 2 girls up. We're a legitimate resort. We don't do this kind of illegal business. Please forgive us, sir. Pin Liang and Xiaofu said, we're a legitimate resort. We don't do such illegal business. F***CK. Zhong Pingliang was about to explode. Who were they trying to fool? When he first chose this resort as the gathering place, it was also because he had played here before. At that time, he had found a few prostitutes. So, Zhong Pingliang thought that the person at the front desk was new. He said, "Get your lobby manager to call me." "What do we do, Liang bro? Is there really no such business here? What should we do?" Gao Xiaofu panicked when he heard that. "Don't worry, I know their lobby manager. Heibao bro and I used to play here often." Zhong Pingliang said, missing Heibao bro. "Sai, I wonder how Heibao bro is doing. Target equals _blank. Chapter 1597. Yeah, we should go visit Heibao bro one day. Xiaofu nodded sadly. Heibao bro is a loyal follower of House Zhong. We can't let him down. Pin Liang said that, but he was thinking that Heibao was still useful to them. Truth be told, Heibao's crimes weren't that serious, and he would one day be released from prison. He'd still be useful then. Heibao's identity as the disciple of the everyday and everyday sect was enough to make Naipeo an inner disciple. This was a power that couldn't be underestimated. Heibao's strength wasn't much, but his connections were. And so Pin Liang thought that it'd be easier for him to talk to the everyday and everyday sect's leader in the future. Then we'll go visit him in a few days. Xiaofu asked. Sure, but we need to solve the problem in front of us first. Pin Liang's mouth was dry, and his body was burning up. It was unbearable. Fortunately, it wasn't long before the manager called. Pin Liang introduced himself to the manager. The manager knew Pin Liang and knew that he was the one paying for this event. He was very polite to Pin Liang. Young Master Zhong, may I know why you're looking for me? Manager Zhang, hurry up and get me 2 girls, pretty ones. We'll talk about the rest later. Pin Liang was burning with lust. He didn't want to waste time with the manager. Young Master Zhong, that's not easy. Our resort doesn't provide this kind of service right now. Manager Zhang remembered Master Ming's orders. He wouldn't dare get Pin Liang any girls. Bullshit. My family runs a nightclub too. Of course I know that. I still have them the last time I came. Hurry up. Cut the crap. Pin Liang panicked after hearing the manager's words. Young Master Zhong, we really don't have them. The CEO emphasized this before, and we're starting to shift our business to legitimate businesses. We don't provide this kind of service anymore. Manager Zhang didn't want to offend Pin Liang. After all, Pin Liang was a big customer here, and he was in the same line of work as Fabai. Then get me 2 girls from outside. Hurry up. Pin Liang couldn't take it anymore. This, young Master Zhong. I'm sorry, we don't have any contact information. Why don't you go out and look for it yourself? Manager Zhang said euphemistically. Since he couldn't get the miss into the resort, he could only ask Pinliang to move out of the resort. If he went out, he'd have nothing to do with the resort. But Pinliang wasn't in the mood to look for it. He couldn't wait any longer, and he was unfamiliar with this place. Where was he going to find it? Even if he found two from his own nightclub, it would take more than an hour of driving. It would be too late. Pinliang was filled with hatred. Was there something wrong with this resort? He even turned to the legitimate industry. Of all times, it had to turn now. What about him and Gao Xiaofu? Damn it, I'm never coming to this place again. Pinliang hung up the phone angrily, but there was nothing he could do. Brother Liang, what should we do? I can't take it anymore. Gao Xiaofu also heard the contents of the phone call and was sweating profusely. What else can we do? I'll go to the washroom and masturbate myself. Pinliang was at his wit's end. He didn't know if he could release the effects of the drug. Zhang Naipeo didn't say anything. Gao Xiaofu wasn't too willing, but Liang Bro had already masturbated. He had no choice but to follow along. Lin Yi, Meng Yao, and Yushu entered the room. Meng Yao was just about to ask Lin Yi something. What was the meaning of the call to Zhou Ruoming? But Lin Yi's face was completely red. His forehead was covered in sweat, and he looked like a crab that had just been fished out of the pot. Lin Yi, what's wrong? What happened to you? Are you feeling unwell? Meng Yao asked immediately. Oh, Shield Bro seems to have been cooked, Yushu said, shocked. Pinliang, someone put aphrodisiac in the wine. Lin Yi smiled bitterly. He didn't mean to lie to Meng Yao and Yushu. There was no point in hiding something like this. Meng Yao jumped. Then what should we do? Shield Bro, are you feeling unwell? Do you need Shu's help? Yushu asked. Ow. Lin Yi took in a deep breath. He almost couldn't hold it in. Wasn't Yushu forcing him to do something he shouldn't do at a time like this? Fortunately, he was an assassin who had gone through strict training. His willpower wasn't something a normal person could compare to. Otherwise, he might have fallen for Shu's words. Seeing Lin Yi's red eyes, Meng Yao knew that Yushu was in trouble. She glared at her. Shu, what are you talking about? I won't help you if Lin Yi pushes you onto the bed. But Shu's not ready yet. Do you want it now? Yushu didn't seem to understand Meng Yao's words at all. Or did she misunderstand? Yao, take her to the side to play. Don't worry about me. Lin Yi didn't know what to do. Was Yushu forcing him to do something wrong? Lin Yi tried to ignore Yushu as he used his pure energy to suppress the drug in his body. He then took out a box of needles from his pocket. Using needles to force out the poison was Lin Yi's forte. As long as he could endure it for a while, he would be fine. Shu. Meng Yao saw Lin Yi's pain. She glared at Yushu and pulled her into the room. Shu, on the other hand, was a little worried. Yao, I heard that it's not easy to cure someone who's poisoned by aphrodisiac. Will Shield Bro be okay? Maybe. I'll take the loss and help him? Yushu said. How are you going to help him? Meng Yao was worried about Lin Yi, but she had no choice. She couldn't sacrifice herself, could she? So she quickly asked, after Shu said it, You can use your hands, or something else. Yushu said with her chest puffed up. Uff. Meng Yao almost vomited blood. What kind of idea was that? If it really doesn't work, I'll sacrifice myself. I've decided to be Shield Bro's small wife anyway. Yushu didn't care about Meng Yao's reaction and continued. Meng Yao was speechless, but in her heart, Yushu's words stirred up an inexplicable ripple. She didn't know what to feel. If you like this work, you are welcome to vote for me at Qijian. Your support is my greatest motivation. Target equals _blank. Chapter 1598. Chapter 1597. Inner struggle if Shu wasn't here. Would Linny be with her if he couldn't handle it? Meng Yao suddenly had a faint anticipation in her heart, but at the same time, she felt that her thoughts were too ridiculous. She didn't even like him, and he liked Tang Yin? But did he really not like her? Yao Yao, what's wrong? Yushu looked at the weird expression on Meng Yao's face and asked curiously, Holy Hull, no, nothing. Meng Yao shook her head, dispelling her unrealistic thoughts. Then, should I go help? Yushu asked impatiently, Don't cause trouble. Lin Yi said that he has a solution. Meng Yao didn't know why, but she didn't want Yushu to go over. Lin Yi was stabbing the acupuncture points all over his body, but Lin Yi heard the conversation between Meng Yao and Yushu very clearly. Lin Yi smiled bitterly, trying his best not to think about those evil thoughts. Towards Yao Yao and Shu, Lin Yi naturally liked them. Humans weren't plants. How could they be emotionless? Plus, they'd lived together for so long, and they had a strange feeling for each other. Although Tang Yin had more or less acquiesced to the Miss and Shu's existence, Lin Yi really couldn't tell what they were thinking. The Miss's feelings seemed to be right, but they weren't. Website. Under Yushu's silly passion, it was hard to tell what was real and what was fake. Plus, Lin Yi already had Tang Yun and Xiao Xiao. If something really happened with the Miss or Shu here, Lin Yi wouldn't be able to get past himself. Even if he wanted to do it, Lin Yi would ask for Tang Yun's opinion first. This was the most basic respect. Lin Yi couldn't do whatever he wanted just because of Tang Yun's connivance. However, Lin Yi soon discovered that the method of detoxification with silver needles didn't seem to have any effect on him. His body temperature was still rising. The drug's effects seemed to have taken effect, but Lin Yi didn't show any signs of reversing. His heart grew stronger and stronger, causing Lin Yi's expression to become even more ferocious and terrifying. However, Lin Yi still maintained his rationality. He sat cross-legged on the ground and asked Jiao Yazi anxiously, Jiao Lao, what should I do now? The situation seems to be very serious. Why don't you try using your Jinqi to dissolve it? Jiao Yazi thought for a moment and said, Your energy is an all-purpose energy. Can you see if you can convert this energy to reduce the medicinal effects in your body? All right. Lin Yi nodded and entered the space of the jade pendant. He activated the art of dragon mastery and used the energy in the space to neutralize the aphrodisiac poison in his body. However, what surprised Lin Yi was that it seemed to have some effect. However, the aphrodisiac's effects seemed to be extremely overbearing. Every bit of it, he refined, required a large amount of energy to enter his body. However, this was still better than nothing. Lin Yi had time. In another room of the resort, Zhong Pingliang and Gao Xiaofu were panting and sweating from exhaustion. Liang bro, I can't do it either. My arm is about to break. Gao Xiaofu said with a bitter face, Pao's medicine is a little too overbearing, isn't it? Who said it wasn't? My arm is about to break too, but we need to work harder. Think about Lin Yi. We need to hurry, or it'll be meaningless if we're late. Zhong Pingliang said, Let's sing a song, let's work harder. Sing? Okay. What song? Gao Xiaofu asked. Weibo, sing with me, 1, 2, 3, ready. Ready. Calabash Brothers. Calabash Brothers. Zhong Pingliang sang loudly. And so they started singing in the washroom, and the two were full of energy. Lin Yi's energy and the medicine clashed, and under the pain, white steam came out of his forehead. It was so hot that Lin Yi was smoking. Yao Yao, it's bad. Shield bro's on fire. Yushu saw the white steam coming out of Lin Yi's forehead and screamed. Then, what should we do? Meng Yao was also shocked. Should we turn the air conditioner to the max? Yushu quickly found the remote control and turned the air conditioner to the max. But even with the air conditioner turned on, the steam on Lin Yi's forehead didn't decrease at all. It was still coming out of his forehead. Why don't we find 2 fans and fan him? It'll cool him down a little, Yushu said after seeing that the air conditioner wasn't working. Okay. Meng Yao, on the other hand, was in a desperate situation. There were planted fans in the hotel room, and she and Yushu each took a fan and started fanning Lin Yi's left and right sides. He saw what Meng Yao and Yushu were doing, but it didn't have much effect. However, Lin Yi didn't have the energy to talk anymore. He was gritting his teeth and using his qi to neutralize the medicine in his heart. Energy gathered around Lin Yi's body, rushing into his body at an unbelievable speed. However, as it fought against the effects of the drug, the energy dissipated into nothingness. This speed of energy absorption made Lin Yi speechless. Even when he broke through, he didn't need this much energy, did he? But neutralizing this medicine did require this much energy. It was unbelievable to Lin Yi, but at the same time he was shocked. Where did this Xiong Pingyang get such a strong medicine? Did Zhang Naipeo give it to him? Now that he thought about it, it wasn't impossible. Elder Jiao, this medicine is too strong. I can't take it anymore. Lin Yi said bitterly as he absorbed the energy, trying to dissolve the medicine in his body. Oh, then you do it. Jiao Lao said. Do it? How do I do it? Lin Yi asked. 5 against 1. Jiao Lao said. This medicine looks strong, but since your qi can neutralize it, it means that you don't need to have sex with someone to neutralize it. You can do it with your hands. But judging from how strong the medicine is, it'll take at least an hour or 2. Ow, ow. Lin Yi didn't know what to say. Running to the washroom to take a 2-hour flight? What kind of joke was that? It'd be fine if Meng Yao and Yushu weren't here, but they were here. He'd be a laughingstock if he went. What else? Lin Yi asked helplessly. Then you'll have to continue neutralizing it. Jiao Yezi said. With your current strength and the endless energy in the jade space, you can neutralize it, but it'll take some time. As long as I can neutralize it. Lin Yi gritted his teeth and decided to continue neutralizing it. An hour later, Pin Liang and Xiaofu finally solved the problem. Both of them were so tired that they almost collapsed from exhaustion. Currently, both of them couldn't even lift their arms. Target equals _blank that you're tuning in to the Thunder Spear YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.